And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank you for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live in the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on all over the internets, all over mainstream media, social media, everywhere, and I don't know where to start. First of all, Southwest Airlines. Have you guys been able to make it to your destination, make it back home, make it to your family's house? Like, what's going on with Southwest? Is it just inclement weather, or is there more going on? We'll talk about that in a minute. Also, shout out to the good Samaritans out there in Buffalo, New York, for saving the elderly man who had mental issues. Without their help, he most certainly would have perished out there, like many others unfortunately did. And if you are affected by the storm, my heart goes out to you. Hopefully everything's okay. Hopefully you are safe and warm. We'll talk about that particular story and the whole situation with weather in the country in a minute. Also, what's going on with your man George Santos, speaking of New York, the new GOP House rep, who happens to be LGBT and slightly Jewish, I suppose. We'll talk about him in a minute. Also, Whoopi Goldberg almost got canceled. Well, she did get canceled, then they uncanceled her. But the majority of normies that saw the original canceling probably don't know that she got uncanceled as soon as she got canceled. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. Also, Grant Cardone says $400,000 a year is not enough to live on. We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And thank y'all again for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. If you enjoy what you're hearing thus far, if you enjoy the show in general, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Also, if you listen to this podcast on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether it be Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Apple iTunes, etc., give me a 5-star rating, give me a review, do whatever you can. And if you didn't know, this will be available tomorrow. If you're listening to me on YouTube right now live, this will be available audio only tomorrow morning. So today is Wednesday, December 28th, 2022. It'll be available Thursday, December 29th, 2022 at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So check it on out. Links will be in the box, or go to your favorite audio streaming platform and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. And of course, shout out to the sponsors. Shout out to ablmerch.com. That is ablmerch.com. Again, ablmerch.com. Link, of course, will be in the box. We got hats, t-shirts, stickers, hoodies, mugs, and more, whatever you want, available in the box. Also, go to my regular website, anthonyblogan.com. Working on getting everything up in order the way it's supposed to be. People said that it was acting weird or whatever. I'm talking to my hosts. They on it. If they're not on it, they're going to get fired ASAP. But shout out to all you guys who visit the website regularly for my articles that I write for each video that I produce. So if you ever have any questions about where I get my sources, where do I find my information, go to the website. Everything will be right there for you. If there's ever a video that I can't really show in full, or you want to see it without my commentary, the easy way to go about it is to go to my website, anthonyblogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. You can find everything right there. Then go to the website's contact page, anthonyblogan.com/contact, to find my email address, mail address, all that good stuff, as well as my social media accounts, my Facebook, Twitter, Insta Snaps. All that good stuff is right there on the website at anthonyblogan.com. Also, if you want one of these beautiful handmade wooden flags that are right behind me on the wall, go to bhedesigns.com. That is BHEDESIGNS.com. All my links will be in the box. And last but most certainly not least, go to patriotpost.us for your best source of news and information anywhere on these internets. Again, patriotpost.us. All my links will be in the description box below the video. If you're listening to me audio only, there should be some kind of description area somewhere. You can find all my links right there. And the easiest way to find anything you want to find is to go to my website. One more time, easy to remember, anthonyblogan.com. or you could just Google me. You could find me pretty easily, Anthony Brian Logan, maybe even Anthony Logan. That might work too. But just find me. I'm pretty easy to access. Find whatever you need. But right now we got quite a few topics on deck, and I don't know where to start. Really, I can start pretty much anywhere. I think I'm gonna start with Grant Cardone, actually, because it's kind of a non-political topic, but it kind of is a political topic. So I'll start there, and then I get into the more political things. I'll get to the feel-good story. I'll do all that in a little bit. And of course, I always have exclusive videos for the show that I've not necessarily done videos on. I'll get to those later. Oh, and before I start, shout out to Tommy Lauren. Tommy Lauren. I was just on her show on Outkick today. You guys can find that on my Twitter. So shout out to her for having me on. Shout out to the whole Outkick staff for having me on. Maybe I'll do that some more. Who knows? But it was a good show. We were talking about who should be the next guy up in 2024 to run for president. We were talking about the Twitter files and the scamdemic and a few things like that. Okay. And one thing that I was talking about on the show is how a lot of normies are so brainwashed by propaganda. It's hard to have them see the light. Like, okay, I'm traveling over the weekend. We get to the whole thing about Southwest in a minute. But I'm traveling over the weekend and I'm seeing little kids still wearing masks. I saw this mom put a mask on a little boy as he's about to enter the plane. Like we're sitting in the gatehouse, whatever they want to call it, in the chairs right by the gate. And she puts a mask on him. I'm like, that mask, it does nothing. It does nothing. Ain't no N95. Even if it was N95, that ain't really gonna. You have on a Paw Patrol mask. Okay, you have on the Phineas and Ferb, SpongeBob SquarePants, Bananas in Pajamas. You have on that mask. What is that going to do? You might as well just have him put his T-shirt above his nose and have that be his mask. I mean, people are so brainwashed. They're not really trying to hear anything that you got to say. They're not really trying to hear too much of anything. So that was a point that I wanted to make, and I think that I'm correct about that because I'm still seeing the mask wearing. That's still a thing for some reason. Okay, I'm going to Chipotle or whatever. I'm like, yo, can I get a bowl to go? Is that in the third? And then they mumbling. I'm like, okay, what was that? I don't hear any words because you get the mask on. It's like, okay, take that mask off, please, so I can hear you. And you can also read lips. You can also understand what somebody's about to say. If somebody says that, you know what? Do you want extra? Do you want chips or a drink? I heard. Maybe I'll be able to understand it if you had your mask off. I could see your face and look at your lips. Even if I can't necessarily hear you 100%, I could kind of read your lips. But I can't hear you 100%. You're talking at a 0 decibel, and then you have a mask on, so I can't see your lips move. So I don't know what you got going on. You might as well speak sign language. I don't even understand that, but I probably would get that better than you trying to talk. You could just point to the chips and point to the drink and be like, I probably would understand that better. Matter of fact, I go to the different ethnic restaurants. I go to the Chinese spot, the Filipino spot, whatever, and they barely speak English. I understand them better with no mask on than I understand the full fluent English speaker with the mask on. But I digress. The whole point is the mask thing I thought had been debunked. I thought they had been said that it didn't work, that they're basically special decorations. What I thought they said, but now people are still wearing it because of all the brainwashing that went on. And I don't know if that brainwashing will ever be successfully overridden. Okay. So I don't really know exactly what's happening. And thank you, Rainbow Melon. I appreciate you for your compliment on the beard. Thank you. But yeah, the whole thing with the mask is crazy, but people are just brainwashed. They don't understand what's going on. And when you're trying to tell them, hey, this doctor over there said that you shouldn't be doing that, and you should do X, Y, and Z for your health, they're not trying to hear you, okay? And when you ask them why, they kind of don't have an answer. But the answer is that they are emotionally attached to whatever the media has been telling them over the past 2 or 3 years. That's it. The same thing with Trump, okay? If you ask people in the streets, why don't you like Trump? What's the big deal with Trump? They will get defensive and get angry because they don't really have a reason. They've just been told that this is what they're supposed to believe. They've been told it over and over again by the TV. Okay, that's just, okay, it's like idiocracy. I keep talking about that movie. If you have not seen Idiocracy, the movie I'm talking about, of course, please watch it. Just watch it. You know, it's not a documentary, but I can't tell at this point. It may as well be a documentary at this particular point in society. Okay, we are one step away from Idiocracy. One more crazy social media app that takes the country by storm and poisons the minds of children. One more scandemic with no education for like a year or 2 years. Zoom education where kids ain't really getting taught anything. They're on their phone. They're on their phone playing Yu-Gi-Oh. They're playing Pokemon Go, whatever. When they're doing that rather than learning, it's not too difficult to see how we can land in an Idiocracy space. But in that movie, all they do is just repeat things from television that they hear. So I know I'm kind of going down a crazy rabbit hole, but y'all just ride with me. Broncos country, let's ride. Russell Wilson, shout out to you. But anyway, so in the movie, one of the chief plot points was the fact that they couldn't get crops to grow and people were starting to starve to death, right? And the guy, the main character, is a guy that had been frozen in a cryo chamber for like, I don't know how many years, a long time. When he comes back, he's of average intelligence, but all the people in the country have become so dumb, they don't understand something as basic as putting water on crops. TV told them that Brondo, this Gatorade-like substance, is all you need. So they're watering crops with this basically sugar compound, and of course the crops aren't growing. So he says, hey, you know what? How about putting water on the crops? Eventually, that was a great revelation. Like that came later in the movie. Hey, how about you put water on the crops? They're like, water from the toilet? Why would I do that? We put Brondo on it. It's what plants crave. They're reciting a commercial rather than using their common sense. It's the same thing going on right here. Don't you see? When we say, hey, that mask doesn't work, if you could smell farts through it, your C19 can get straight through. The C19 particle is much smaller than a gas particle from your body. They're like, nah, but the TV said, put the mask on. They said that it'll work. And so, I need 6 feet, social distance. You see what I'm saying? That's all they hearing is what the TV tells them. Common sense, not even important. What real doctors say, not even important. Your quacks like Dr. Fauci and everybody else, TV doctors, what they say makes more sense than everything else. Dr. Fauci has been a quack his entire career, bungled the HIV AIDS outbreak in the 80s, bungling the C19. He bungles everything. A paid liar, started the virus himself because he funded the whole gain of function research through Ecolab's research, which went to the Wuhan lab in China. And then, of course, the Wuhan lab, it's in China. It's gross. It's disgusting. They don't have any kind of protocol for cleanliness or keeping anything contained. So, of course, it escaped the lab and went to the people surrounding the area. And China are so dumb. People are getting locked up in their houses, welded inside their houses, yet the virus is still spreading. Maybe metal bars don't contain the bug. Just maybe it don't contain it. Just, just a random thought. Maybe people that live in these ridiculous shanty town type towers are able to transmit it right there in the tower. Being locked in your house will make a difference. You're just making it spread in a smaller area. But I digress. The whole point is people don't really believe in common sense too much anymore. They believe whatever the television tells them, whatever their government tells them, even though it's obviously ridiculously false. But I'm getting triggered, so I digress. Oh, yeah. I don't even want to go down the road of the whole, what was that, the bugles? I know I'm saying that right. I'm wrong, pardon me. The puppies. What kind of puppies were they? I don't know my dog breeds. Y'all got to pardon me. So what kind of puppies were those? Beagles, pardon me. I said bugles. That's little pieces of corn candy. The beagles, yeah. This guy and this government and it's kind of scary, really, because the government has gotten so big and they control so much of your life, yet they're so incompetent. I'm talking about drooling, knuckle dragging, caveman incompetent. Have we evolved or not? I don't even believe in that. But have we gained any intelligence, or are we starting to go backward? You ever see that chart of the evolving man from knuckledragger to human, which I don't believe in. But anyway, let's just say that's correct. We go from knuckle dragging in the caves, scrawling on walls, playing with rocks and sticks, making fire. We go from that to upright humans with societies and technology. We're kind of going the other direction at this particular point in time. Okay, if TikTok is any kind of gauge on where society is going, it don't look too good. But I will go ahead and digress. Where did I want to go with this? I think I was talking about Grant Cardone. I wanted to get there, but then I got sidetracked with the whole thing of travel and the masks and whatnot. But yeah, please stop wearing masks. It's not helping you at all. If anything, whatever kind of schmutz and dirt you didn't ate from Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, and everything else is getting washed around and put right back into your face. You breaking out. You got all kind of bumps and stuff around your face from your mask. Please stop. And those masks are produced in a disgusting way. You know, you guys saw the video I put up here a while ago. I should put it up one more time. I should put these videos up occasionally. But matter of fact, it was already right there. I already had it in my my recents. Okay. Here's how your masks are made. The mask that you put on your face, right? You put this mask on your face. Let's just show you how these masks are actually made. Let's get a little bit of sound, perhaps, and let's go ahead and roll the clip. Look at this. So this is like some kind of sweatshop in India. It looks like somewhere in the Indian subcontinent. It could be Pakistan, it could be Bangladesh, but probably somewhere in India, maybe Pakistan. Don't really matter. You know pretty much what's going on here. These guys are on the floor. It's all kind of debris from the manufacturing of these masks everywhere. These guys are barefoot. Ain't no mask, no gloves, no nothing. Barefoot. I'm talking about no socks, no shoes, no nothing. It could be all kind of toe jam, foot fungus, athlete's foot, conjunctivitis, plantar fasciitis, whatever they got going on is on your mask, right? Now, I understand people are going to say, well, hey, ABL, that's all sweatshops. They're all like that. You have on underwear right now that's made like that. Okay, I understand. But see, you know what I do? Whenever I buy any kind of clothing that I'm going to put on my body, I'm going to wash it first immediately. But can you put a mask in the washing machine? I don't think so. Not those kind of masks, not these cloth. Can you put those in? No, you can put it right on your face, thinking that you're protecting yourself. Meanwhile, you can't stop a thing with those masks. The smells will go right through it. The mask will go right through it. That's basically just a safety blanket, make yourself feel better. Meanwhile, whatever they got going on in that room right there, you putting right on your face, right on your face, right on your lips, on your tongue, all that. Now, if you're not going to eat food off the ground, if you're not going to eat, like, let's say, for example, you're eating some popcorn and some potato chips and one of the chips falls on the ground. Now, if you don't want to go to the ground and pick that potato chip up and put it in your mouth and eat it, why would you put a mask on your face that's produced like this? Let's roll the video some more. Okay, let's roll the video. These guys in here in wife beaters. I mean, these guys in here in tank tops. Okay, they sweating, underarm stuff all over the place. No way. Ain't no way. I mean, how else are they being produced? Because you got to understand, there was such a big demand for these masks, they couldn't get them out fast enough. So this is a quick and efficient way. They're just making them, just pumping them out. And that's how your masks are made. Now, you putting that on your face? You putting that on your child's face? And you're wondering why you got all kind of RSV going on, huh? Ain't anybody talking about that. Anybody talking about the RSV outbreak among children? Where is that coming from? Is it difficult to really tell? It shouldn't be difficult to tell where it's coming from. They said at one point there was, for the first time in, I think, American history or something like that, there was plastics detected in human beings' lungs in America. Plastics, like microplastics in your lungs. Why? because you got the mask on your face, which has plenty of loose microplastics on it, and you're breathing that all day, you're going to get some of that to just stay in your lungs. Now, I don't think having microplastics in your lungs is a good idea. That's probably not a good thing to have, especially since this whole thing with the bug kind of restricts your breathing. So it seems kind of counterintuitive, yes? Little kids in there working and everything. You see it. All right. Okay, so that's 2020. Okay, so that's February 22nd, 2020. I suppose. I mean, I'm not really sure why that sound like that. So yeah, I'm cool. Straight to Walmart. That's what you're gonna put on your face right at Walmart. You're not gonna be able to wash it. Like I say, I know a lot of shops are like that, but anytime I would go to a shop, I'm gonna wash that first. I'm gonna put it right in the washing machine instantly. Like I'm gonna pop the tags on whatever I buy, put it right in my hamper, and then on wash day, throw them in the washing machine, make sure they're nice and clean, and then I put it on. But before that, I'm not gonna put it on my body. You know, that's just not gonna happen. Okay, if I try it on or something like that, I'm gonna have some kind of shirt up under it. I'm not gonna let it touch my skin. It's just basic common sense, but you know, people, again, that common sense gets suspended when people's fear comes into play. You know, that's just kind of how that works. But I digress. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Now, let's get to my man, Grant Cardone. I said I wanted to get to that right quick. Now, how many of you guys think that $400,000 is enough to live on in America? I'm talking about you got a family of four. Let's say, for example, you got a wife, kids. Okay, so you got a husband, wife, 2 kids, and a dog. White picket fence, whatever, in Anytown, USA. Anytown, USA, really. I ain't talking about just in a small town where you have low cost of living. I'm talking about San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York. Where else? Miami, Florida, Tampa, Orlando, Chicago, wherever you want to go, DC. $400,000 is plenty of money. I mean, it don't matter where you live. That's plenty of money. But your man, Grant Cardone, doesn't believe that's the case. Now, I like Grant Cardone. I like a lot of his stuff. If you don't know who he is, he's like a financial guru in the real estate. I guess you would say also guru, but real estate investor. Has a lot of real estate, has a lot of, he has books that he's written about money and whatnot. A lot of good content. But this right here was just crazy. It was crazy to see it. Yeah. Ruckus, you know what? The average salary in the USA well, maybe that's the average, but the median is probably a better way to look at it. If you look at the median income for an individual, it's probably the best way to look at it, because household income, probably 58,000, average household income, but median income, I always go off of median rather than average, because average, you're going to factor in the very super rich people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, guys who are far and above and beyond any regular person, even the regular rich person. Billionaires, I mean, so the median income, if you guys don't know, but you guys, of course, are very smart, you understand what I'm saying. The median income, if you could place all the incomes of America on a list, like on a sheet of paper, from all the zeros to the trillionaires or whatever you want to say, if you just look right in the middle of that list, that's your median. The median income for males in the U.S. is $38,400. Matter of fact, let me see. So the median income for males, here we go. Let's look at it right here. Median income males is $38,400. All right, that's it right there. In the United States, female, that's $25,300. That's it. Now, some are going to be shocked by that, but this is the reality of the country. This is why, you know, people, it's kind of hard to really put it into words. People live differently. They do different things. They don't all live in a really super big city. They don't all make a bunch of crazy money. This is right in the middle of the United States income. That's right in the center. Median, not average, but right in the middle. Now, some are going to make much more. Some are going to make much less. That's the middle. So we're talking about 400,000 is not enough. And again, this is for individual people, not a household. So this is for men, 38,400, women, 25,300. All right. That's just really what it is. Now, if you put household income is different. Let me look at household income. Household income is is usually a husband and a wife together. Most mothers work. 3 out of 4 mothers work in the country. This has changed since the civil rights movement and feminism and whatnot. At one point, men were the ones that went out to work. Women stayed home. That's changed. Since they realized that they can get women to work, they put women out there so they can tax you more. They can make you more consumers. They can get more money from you from the business perspective, because the man ain't really going to shop like that. Women will. They realize that. That's why women's clothes are cheaper than men's, because they know they can sell more to women than to men. So they make it up in volume. It's a whole big game behind it. But let me just find the median income for households in the U.S. Well, average household income, that's something different. So, here we go. Yeah, there we go. So here's the difference between median and average. The average U.S. household income is $87,000. And again, that's usually husband and wife. Household means a whole house. So let's say in this house I had, okay, you got wife, kids, everybody else, at least 2 income earners usually. That's what that is. So we split it in half. You still at about 43.5, something like that. That's average, including the super rich Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and everybody else. But the median right in the middle is 61,937. And you split it in half, you're at about 30,000. Each person makes about 30,000. As a matter of fact, you probably at this right here, that's probably right on point with what I was just talking about, where I said 35 and 25, because that's 60. So that's right about, yeah, that's about it. This right here is the sum of that number right there for the men and that for the women. That's pretty much what it is. So when Grant Cardone says, hey, you know what, that's not enough. Like not that, but 400,000 ain't enough. It's kind of crazy. Now let's go ahead and just replay that right quick, so you see what I'm talking about if you have not heard it yet.
If I made 400 grand a year, I would be embarrassed with myself as a husband, a father, basically as a human being. 400 grand. How do you make sense of $35,000 a month? You guys haven't done the math. You have not done the math, because you cannot live on 400 grand a year.
Now, how many of y'all agree with that statement? You cannot live on 400 grand a year. I don't understand how you can say that. I mean, I get it. I get where he's coming from as far as the numbers, because this guy is multimillionaire, might even be a billionaire. I don't really know, but I know he's a really rich guy, has a lot of real estate, has a lot of money, has a private jet, a bunch of cars. I get it, Grant. You're rich. We all know it. But the average normie is not rich. The average normie would love to have 400 grand a year. That could take care of a family of however many you want. I mean, because, okay, 400 grand, you get a house somewhere, you can buy, rent, whatever you want. You can pretty much live anywhere, or 400 grand a year. Okay, you probably would just go ahead and buy you a home with that money. Buy a house, a modest house. You can get a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom. That's not necessarily modest, but that's plenty. Okay, you can have 3, 4 kids. They all got their own room, bathroom, yard to play, private school. What more would you need? How are you going to say it's not enough to live on? I don't really understand. I've made, I'm not going to say how much I make right now. I ain't trying to do that, but I've made like no money as an adult. I think my lowest year I made $18,000. How old was I when I made that? I was in my late 20s. I think I might have been, when was this? Like 2011, 2012, something like that. Nah, it wasn't 2012. Probably like 2014. So what, this is 2022 now. So I might have been 30 years old, 29, 30 years old, 18,000. There's a reason for that. It wasn't a real big story, but it was just, I had my own business and I was making enough to take care of what I had to take care of. and I was trying to find another job that could supplement what I was making. But the jobs I was finding at that particular time were not enough to make me give up what I already had. I wanted to keep what I was doing because I had clients and just enough to be able to, I wanted to have that and something else. But the jobs I was finding, it was like making the same kind of money that I was already making. So it didn't make much sense to leave that and then go do that where I can get fired in a month and then I don't have any money at all. So yeah, 18. Now I've done a lot better since then, obviously. Okay. But yeah, 18. 400 grand, psst, please. You're doing super well with that kind of money. Yeah. Oh yeah. James said 60 grand a year is rich where you're from. Oh yeah. How about West Virginia? In West Virginia, if you make 40,000, you're straight. You're super straight. If you make 60 as a single person or even as a household, you're rich. You're super rich. Okay. Even in a place like San Francisco, Los Angeles, you make $400,000, you're doing very well. You're not struggling in poverty at all. Even in San Fran, where it's too expensive, houses are $1 million on the bare minimum. You paying $1 million for a shoebox in San Francisco. That's still plenty of money. So yeah, I mean, I think maybe he has good advice on other things, but on that particular note, it's kind of crazy. All right. Well, I can't pronounce your name, so pardon me, boss. Daryl Douglas, hopefully I said that right, says this Cardone guy is playing on our quote get rich quick unquote mentality. Look at Lotto fever and online gambling is enough to us. Oh yeah, the online gambling is crazy. Online gambling is crazy. Gambling in general is really sneaky because what they do, let me come back here. What they do with gambling is they disguise it in a lot of different ways. They've made it go to mobile apps now. And since they've legalized betting, like sports betting in a lot of places, you got FanDuel and whatnot, that's gambling. Then you have like a lot of these mobile games that kind of play on your desire to gamble. They got all kind of lights and bells and whistles and whatnot. It's not necessarily gambling directly, but it's a form of gambling, loot boxes and whatnot, and they're getting kids involved with gambling. When you're talking about Fortnite, I think they changed a lot of stuff legally because it was in the gray area. When you're talking about gambling, getting kids hooked on it, they're begging their parents for V-Bucks or whatever to buy things that they don't know what they are. So they got to spend more and more money to get what they actually want. That's gambling right there. Okay, you're putting money into the thing, hoping they get a positive result, and when you don't, you got to put more into it. That's gambling at its core. You see, so they try to get kids hooked on it. So when they get to be older, they're watching sports, NBA, NFL, and then they begin to bet on it. I see that a lot going on right now. Same thing with vapes. There's a lot of people that are 18 years old hooked on vaping, like for real. And that's a backdoor to get into nicotine and to get straight to smoking cigarettes. Because if you can't get your vape and your little fruity flavors and whatnot, okay, how about I go buy a box of Newports and carry it like that? And if I'm really having a hard time, I'm stressed out, I'll go buy a carton. It's a way to just make money. And a lot of laws are kind of like not really up to date as far as how to combat it. But that's a different story. And I digress. The whole point is that people don't really understand how to use money, and they don't understand how they're being manipulated by society, by a lot of these corporations to make money off of them. They don't understand how they themselves are being commoditized, and they don't understand how to break that and make money for themselves rather than it being a product to be sold to the highest bidder. Right? Oh, and the government money is something else. A lot of the stimulus checks. Man, the whole thing with the PPP, that was a big mess. That was the biggest boondoggle in my lifetime. I'm talking about, they said the majority of all of that, people that applied for PPP was fraud. I know people that I've met that have gotten, I'm talking about 5-6 figures and blown it all. Have you guys ever seen the episode of Family Guy where they win the lottery and they go broke soon after? I think toward the end, they won it again and got even broker. And that happened like 3 or 4 more times. I'm not sure how many times it happened in the episode, but they kept winning the lottery and they kept going broke because it was their mentality. They didn't understand what to do with it. And this is what I'm talking about. When you have any kind of program like this, of course it's going to happen. When you give somebody some money They have no idea how to handle it, no idea how to spend it, no idea where to invest, no idea what to basic things like having bank accounts. People got PPP loans getting 6 figures in money, and they're going to, check cash in places. Like, it was a story. I don't know about PPP. That probably was like direct deposit into bank account. People got Chime accounts, not even the credit union. I'm talking about like Chime or prepaid debits and getting money put on there. Ridiculous stuff, right? Like Bernie Madoff, when he was doing this pyramid scheme, he had one Chase account with like $5 million in it, or $5 billion, or some kind of crazy amount of money. I think he had one Chase checking account with $5 billion in cash in it. Hold on, let me make sure I'm saying the right thing. Bernie Madoff Chase bank account. Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna try to find it here. 65 billion. Yeah, he had a Chase bank account as his primary thing. I'm gonna find that right quick. Okay, CNBC. Oh man, the ads are tearing me to pieces. Good night. All right. So yeah. So here's some of this right here. It would cost JP Morgan Chase nearly $2.6 billion total to settle allegations that it turned a blind eye to Bernie Madoff's epic Ponzi scheme. No individuals from the bank will be penalized, however, and putting behind one of its biggest scandals will cost the bank less than 2 weeks' revenue. Chase was Madoff's primary bank for years, and it structured and sold investment vehicles tied to his purported returns. So, he had all his money in one checking account at Chase. I mean, ridiculous stuff. But hey, people just do dumb things with their money because humans sometimes can be kind of silly. I mean, pretty silly. And we're going to see how your man gets handled. What's his name? Sam Bankman-Fried, aka Baby Madoff, Madoff 2.0, the Madoff clone. Who knows? Yeah, 5 figures on Cash App, golfing guns. 5 figures on Cash App. Joe Douglas said 6 figures on the NetSpend card. Yes. Like, my checking account, I don't even have money really in there. I have a bunch of accounts, but my checking account that I would have like a debit card in my pocket for, ain't even no money really in there. I use a credit card for all my purchases. I don't spend things with my debit card at all. Credit cards. I get paid to use my credit card. I get points and all that kind of stuff. I got a bunch of cards. Like, it's going to be kind of hard to commit fraud and whatnot on me because I got money in different places, all over the place, a lot of different accounts, secure stuff, no debit cards, none of that. I don't spend any money where my actual money is, if that makes any sense. I got a system that I use that kind of eliminates a lot of that extra stuff. But yeah, and if they lose their password to their NetSpend card or something like that, then they got to call customer service, try to figure out who they are. It's a whole big mess, man. But yeah, please don't put your cash on the Cash App card or something, or Rush card. Put your cash in the credit union, somewhere where you can build a relationship. You can go in there and talk to them, know your name. You can make a little bit of money if you have it. Like, you can get dividends. I mean, something. Do something. Put it in stocks. If I was to give advice, if I was to be the more rational Grant Cardone, and you had money that you just didn't want to sit in a bank account, I would say put it in stocks. Put it in I'm tripping. My phone's going off. Put it in stocks. Put it in a vehicle that could make money for you. S&P 500, NASDAQ, index funds. Any money that you spend on a daily basis, I would say don't spend money, spend credit, and just pay your credit card every month. I said that on Twitter. People were kind of got mad at me. They were talking about, oh, you're advocating for debt. Nah, it's not debt. You're not going to have debt on your credit card if you pay your bill every month before the due date, because there's no interest on your credit card unless you don't pay, unless you don't pay your balance in full by the due date. Okay, a lot of people don't really understand that. If you put money on the credit card and you pay your balance in full on the due date or before, there's no interest. But if you're paying minimum payments after your due date, now you're starting to accrue interest. That's how you get into debt. But if you put money on your credit card like it's a debit card, you'll be fine. But you got to be disciplined to not spend more than what you have. That's the key. That's how they get you. But as long as you don't let them just get you and do whatever they want to you, play the game, and don't be played, then you'll be fine. But if you're not disciplined like that and you let them play you, you get played. That's how it works. But yeah, have cash, but I don't spend my cash at all, ever. Only time I spend cash is when I give cash tips to people. Like, okay, I might tip the waitress or the restaurant, something like that. I'll give them cash because when you write tips on the slip, that's gotta get taxed and it's gotta go through a whole process, and like it'll go on their check. And on their check, obviously, is taxes that come out. If you give them $20 on the tip, they might get a piece of that. What, half maybe a little bit more than that. Rather, and when I don't have cash, I will cash app them some money directly to their thing. But I don't know. Maybe I'll talk about that a little bit later. You know, I'll talk about some of that the more money stuff. A lot of Hot Wings says, ABL, what do you think of Andrew Tate's take on making money? I think what Tate was talking about, and if I'm wrong, a lot of Hot Wings let me know in the comments, but I think what he was talking about was he hates guys that hoard their money, go out and spend it. I don't necessarily disagree with him. I say spend your money wisely, of course. Don't go broke, but don't hoard it either. Spend your money wisely, but don't, like, I think he was talking about Sam Bankman-Fried. Sam Bankman-Fried came off as a guy that was very frugal, a humble billionaire, didn't spend any of his money. But what Tate was saying was that when these guys are like that, they're almost always dirtbags. They're almost always not who they portray themselves to be. And of course, this guy was stealing billions of dollars, buying a bunch of money on real estate. He looked slovenly, like he didn't really take care of himself. But at the same time, he was spending billions of dollars on real estate and other investment vehicles to make himself more money, taking money where it didn't go, where it was supposed to go, misappropriating funds, commingling funds, doing illegal stuff. But a guy like Andrew Tate with a bunch of cars and whatnot is not doing that. So who's better? The person that is spending their money on whatever they want, or the guy who appears to be looking like he smokes crack for a living, but taking your money and buying real estate, buying a bunch of stuff you shouldn't be buying, misappropriating funds, stealing money, and all kind of stuff like that. Okay? Taking your life savings from you and pretty much burning it, setting it on fire. All right. But yeah, that's what it is. But see, the thing about cash, people say cash is king, but the reality is 98% maybe of cash is all digital anyway. So it doesn't even really matter if you're spending cash or credit. It's all numbers. You just got to make sure that you're doing the best thing for you. If you're using the debit card, you might as well use a credit card. It's the same thing. There's no difference. You're not spending cash. You're spending numbers. You're spending numbers on the screen. Even if you go get cash from the ATM, you're just taking from numbers on the screen. Like if you see things that way, then you kind of understand what I'm talking about. But that's just me. That's just how I feel. Also, if you I would say spend it, especially if you have a thing that can accrue value over time. Buying a house was a great thing for me in 2020 because, and I always think about selling my house. I got a lot of equity in it because of the whole thing with the shortage and the pandemic, but my mortgage will be very low and it's like a hedge against inflation. People are facing inflation right now and they're having their rent go up $400, $500. Not me though. Not me. I'm good. Okay. My taxes are pretty much going to be low. I don't live in the city I don't live in an incorporated city. I live in the county. So I'm not paying city taxes. Like I'm super good. My mortgage right now is lower than a lot of people's rent in a moderate city for kind of raggedy apartment. And I got a nice house, so I'm straight. Brand new house. So it's all good. Grant Cardone says cash is trash. I kind of agree with him right there. I agree with some things. You know, G.I. Jada says cash don't earn you free flights. To F, I'm going to use cash. Exactly. Exactly. There you go. You know, credit cards can work well for you if you're responsible and you stay on top of them. If you're not very responsible, like you got to know yourself. If you're not really good with money, you don't really understand how to budget, how to spend money properly, then don't do it. Just, you know, get cash, put it in a bank account, spend it, you know, that kind of way. Just do that. If you're not really good with your credit, but if you're good with being disciplined, knowing when the due dates are, having auto pay set up, having a good stream of income or whatever, you could do this, what I'm talking about. But it's not for everybody. Okay. Hey, but I don't got no money though. I mean, I use credit cards. I don't got no money. Do I pay school taxes? I mean, I pay county taxes. I guess it goes toward the school, but not, I don't see any kind of breakdown where it says something about the school specifically. But the point I was making is that I don't pay city taxes. All I pay is county. Now, some people, they pay county and city taxes. And the thing about living in Tennessee, I don't pay state income tax. I thought about moving to Georgia, but it's like, why? Why? You know, I have no state income tax. I don't pay city tax. I already got my house. I'm paying a low mortgage, low car insurance, low homeowners insurance. I'm straight. I'm straight. All right. Amanda Jean says Bankman-Fried used a lot of his money on drugs, legal and illicit. I believe it, because didn't the girl, what's her name, Velma from Scooby-Doo? You know what I'm talking about. Carolyn Ellison, is that her name? The former CEO of the hedge fund. She was talking about using amphetamines or something. I forget what it was. Hold on. What's the name of that particular Alameda Research? There was an interview. I'm gonna try to find that right quick. Hold on.
Summer, for me, a lot of it was just about sort of, readjusting my expectations and being open to whatever happened. I think like every week or so, something like weirder than the previous week would happen. And I was like, okay, I just like mentally, adjusted myself to, okay, we're farming comp, and then it's like, oh, now we're farming these things that are like foods. And then now we're farming these like whatever weird, like meta food things. I don't know. Summer, for me.
Okay. Maybe y'all understood that, but I had no idea what she was talking about. Michael Critchlow says, Andrew Tate is silly for saying don't buy a house. Well, I mean, buying a house, it can be kind of tricky to do that, honestly. Right now, I would say don't buy a house because, well, you know what? Right now, I'm not really sure. I'm kind of 50-50 on it because part of me is saying don't buy a house until the interest rates go down and the housing market kind of collapses. But at the same time, I don't see the rates going down anytime soon. I see the rates going to 10%. Right now, the a 30-year mortgage is going for like 7% interest rate. I have a 3% interest rate on my mortgage. They're going for 7 coming up here pretty, like right now. They might hit 10. So while you're waiting to wait for the market to kind of crash as far as the prices, they may dip, but your interest rate is going to determine your mortgage. If, let's say, for example, a house you want right now at $500,000 dips to $350 if you wait, but you have a higher interest rate, you may end up paying more per month on your mortgage because of the higher interest rate. Or it may be the same, or you may not be able to get the house because by the time you act, now you have the inventory then dried up. So I don't really know. It's kind of a gamble right now. It's 50-50. I couldn't really give you that kind of advice and be secure in what I'm talking about. But if we're talking about 2020, when I got my house, I would have said go ahead and buy it because money was super cheap, 2%, 3% mortgage rates at 0% Fed rate, reasonable prices, a bunch of inventory because the new housing starts. I would say go ahead and do it. But right now, it's up in the air. I don't really know. I can't really tell you one way or the other. I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say yes either. I would just say, just kind of, if you got money and you can afford it, maybe. If you wait, it might be better, but it might not be because of the interest rate. That's the key. The Fed is going to be breaking you off a little bit. All right. JK says the house I want right now is 1.3. If I wait, it'll drop to 1. Yeah. I mean, that could happen, but how about the interest rate? Will the interest rate make your price different per month? I think maybe at those numbers, you would still do better if you waited, even if you had a higher interest rate. But if you're talking about 400,000 and 400, I would say go ahead and buy it right now, but you still got a lower interest rate than what it's going to be in the next year or two at 10. But I digress. Jackie says village tax in county end up being more tax than living in Amherst, New York. Oh, Michael Crislow is saying takes and never buy a house. He could do that because he's rich. But if you're just a normie, like if you're a normie living in one place for 30 years, then it makes no sense to say that, because if you're going to just rent the same place for 30 years, you might as well go ahead and buy it. It just kind of makes sense. You're going to put a bunch of money and time into it. You might as well go ahead and buy it. But if you're going to be traveling and moving around and you got money, I would say go ahead and buy it. But it depends on the situation. It's not everything, not for everybody. But I digress. We got more topics on deck. What did I want to get to here? I wanted to get to close out the Grant Cardone thing. I say 400 grand is plenty. If you got that kind of money, you're doing very well in this world, and definitely in this country. But definitely in this world, in this country, you're doing great. In the USA, you're doing great. But definitely in the world, you're doing very good, because this is a very rich country, the best country on planet Earth, right here in the USA. You make that kind of money anywhere else in the world, you are a king. Go to Africa with that money. Go to Asia with that money. Go to China with 400 grand. If you can escape the Chinese Communist Party trying to rob you, putting you in the penitentiary like they did with Jack Ma, if you can escape that, you look like a king over there. Because contrary to popular belief, China is not a rich country necessarily. They got a lot of manufacturing power, but how much does the average person make in income when you compare it to U.S. dollars? Like 10 bands a year, maybe 12,000 a year. It's not a lot of money. But I'll move on. Like a lot of China is pretty rural. Like it's looking like some old kung fu movie for real. It ain't, Beijing, Shanghai. You're looking like they got chickens in their front yard that fight every morning to wake you up in the morning. It's like roosters crowing or whatever. You got chickens fighting as an alarm clock in most of China. Mexico, hey, no hablo español though. You know what I'm saying? I need to speak English. Okay. I don't speak no Chinese. I don't speak no Mexican. I'm playing no Spanish. I don't speak any of those languages. Give me a English speaking country, francophone maybe, au revoir, Tabayen, all that good stuff. I know a little bit of that, but beyond that, I'm pretty much out back. But anyway, let's keep on moving here. Where did I want to go to next? I was talking about Southwest. Let's get to Southwest right quick, because this whole thing is crazy. Let's talk about travel in general. Did you guys travel over the holiday weekend, and how was it? One thing about travel, a little bit of advice from me. I'm no travel expert, but I know a little teeny bit. I fly occasionally. And one thing I found out, maybe you all know this, maybe I'm just preaching to the choir, but one thing I know is try to avoid connecting flights at all. If you can avoid connecting flights, go ahead and do it. You see, when I was traveling to West Virginia earlier this year to visit my family, I could have flown from here, but rather than flying, I just said, you know what? The drive's like 7 hours. I'll go ahead and drive, because if I fly, it's going to be a connecting flight, probably about 2 or 3 flights to get to West Virginia, because it's a very, very small place, small airport. You won't have a direct flight from where I live. Not from Atlanta, not from Chattanooga, not from Nashville, maybe from Charlotte, but I'm not driving to Charlotte 5 hours. If I'm going to do that, I'll just drive to West Virginia, or I could go to Lexington and fly from there. But if I'm going to go to Lexington, 2 hours away, West Virginia, I'll just drive there. So it just made sense. But if you can get a direct flight, avoid connecting flights, because if you got a delayed flight, for your first flight, you probably miss a connecting flight. And if you miss that, now you got a lot of problems. You're going to be facing full flights. You're going to be facing all kind of stuff. It's going to be a mess. And I don't check bags. What I don't do when I travel, I don't check bags, and I don't take connecting flights. That's my rules. And I've not had a problem since I've been doing that. Yeah, I don't check no bags. All carry-ons. Okay. I got the TSA limit for carry-ons. I got a book bag that I packed to the top of my tech equipment in it, and I got a pretty light tech setup. Okay, so I don't have a lot of problems with I can't put it under my seat or I can't put it in the overhead bin. Nope, put it in the overhead bin, put it under my seat, and I'm good money. All right, when I go travel, like let's say I got to do Frontier, I'll pay the extra money for an upgraded ticket so I can do a carry-on and a book bag. I'd rather would do a carry-on and the book bag than to check it and then my bags get lost or my flight gets delayed and then my bags are somewhere in Fairbanks, Alaska while I'm in Miami, Florida. I don't got no time for that. I have all my stuff with me, direct flight, and I'm good money. Or I will just drive. That's simple as that. Golf and Gun says I don't do connecting flights. David Ray says I take direct flights too. Exactly, direct flights. If I can't do a direct flight, I probably won't go. Or I'm going to drive if I can. If it's within like 5 to 8 hours, I'll go ahead and take the drive for sure. All right. So, yeah, it should be common sense. But, you know, I was on the plane. I was on the plane coming back from Virginia this time. And it was a delay, like 30-minute delay of taking off. And when we landed, I'm hearing people's conversations. They're talking about, you know, I got 5 minutes to get to my connecting flight. Okay. We had just landed. The air bridge was not even on this yet. It's almost like I got 5 minutes. Okay. We on Concourse A in Hartsfield Jackson. You got to go all the way to T. You ain't going to make it. I think T is only like 2 concourses up from B. Like if you go on the train, like you got to leave. You got to get off the plane first. Okay. And if you're in the back of the plane, forget about it. D plane is going to take 15 minutes right there. So you already missed your 5 minutes. You get off the plane, go in the airport. You got to go all the way down to the plane train or whatever they call that. Then you got to get on the plane train. They stop at Concourse A from B. Then you got to go to T. Then once you get to T, you got to go to the escalator. Then go to your gate where the plane is at. You're going to miss that. You're going to miss it. Or if you're going to do connecting flights, make sure you have enough of a space in between, like a 2-hour layover. You don't want a layover, but you might need that space because of a delay or whatever. You don't know what's going to happen. Anything could happen. The plane train could be down. Now you got to walk from Concourse D all the way to T. That's going to be a good 30 minutes. So you need time. Yeah, Hartsfield Jackson it could be a nightmare. I like big airports like that. Also small airports are better. Chattanooga has like a 4-terminal airport, so it's easy to get in there. Chattanooga Airport, you go in there, and once you get through TSA, take you like 5 minutes, and once you get through TSA, you're right there. The whole airport is right there. Ain't no plane, train, ain't no bus. I've been on the bus on the tarmac to get to the plane, train, walking, running, everything. Chattanooga Airport, other small airports like that. Once you go through TSA, you right there. All the terminals right there in front of you. You don't got to go nowhere. You can, like, if your flight takes off at 11, you can get there at 10:45 and have 15 minutes to spare. You understand what I'm saying? That's kind of how that works. So yeah. But I think the problem with Southwest, to talk about them specifically, is they have outdated technology. And if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. You know, you guys are always on top of what's happening. But their technology is not updated, so they didn't know where the pilots were. They didn't know where the crew was. It was just kind of a logistics situation with their own back end system. They don't know where people are, so they can't staff the planes properly. It's just a big mess from their point of view. So they had like 2,500 canceled flights. Like there's a lot of canceled flights because of the weather, but the majority of the canceled flights are with Southwest and not other airlines. You know what I mean? So it's a mess. Oh yeah, the rental cars. People were renting cars. Mary Christie. People were renting cars, driving from Florida to Ohio. People that don't know each other, random strangers saying, "Hey, y'all trying to go to Ohio from right here?" Get in the car and drive. Okay, and I'm seeing a bunch of plates up 75 from all over the place, going from point A to point B, trying to figure out a way to get home. It's crazy. Yep. What's the worst People say that ATL airport is horrible, and then some say ATL airport is the best. I love the ATL airport personally because I go there all the time. That's my home airport basically. That's what I only fly out of ATL because I can just drive there, get there in an hour and a half. I could park right there at the airport or park at a little shuttle, right there on Kemp Creek. Get in the shuttle, be there in 5 minutes, right at the front door. TSA took me like 15 minutes at max, probably about 10 minutes. Go through TSA, I go to the plane train, go to my terminal, and I'm good. I can get something to eat. I can go get some little snacks, little water, and I'm chilling. Flying Delta or Frontier or whatever. And Frontier is a good airline from my experience. I mean, Frontier, you're going to have some people on there that are pretty interesting. If you pay money and you go in the front and you get your bags and all that stuff on the flight, you're doing pretty well on Frontier. If you pay Delta money on Frontier, it's a good experience. But even if you don't, you can still get from point A to point B pretty well. But you'll be with some people that are kind of interesting. I was on Frontier one time. I saw a bunch of big, I don't know what you want to call them. Transvestites is an old word, right? I don't know what to call them. Looking like Wesley Snipes in drag. You understand what I'm saying? These MMA fighters, but trans at the same time. So you're going to see some of that on there. You might see a few BBLs trying to heal. Oh, man. You ever been on the plane with somebody that had surgery, like a BBL? Okay, I'm going to explain to you the plane experience with a BBL person. All right. I'll get to some of these comments a little bit later. But a BBL person, okay. Now, if you guys don't know BBL, that's a Brazilian butt lift, right? And they get these surgeries in Dominican Republic. They might go to Miami or whatever. But a lot of times they go to Miami. They might come to ATL to recover. But a lot of times they go straight to Miami to recover. And what they'll do is they can't sit really. So they kind of like give the German Shepherd out the window of a car. Like you ever driving on the road and you seeing dogs kind of like propped up on the halfway open window. They pause like this and head out the window. That's kind of how they do in the seat. They're propped up, knees on the seat, propped up with their butt going the other way rather than in the seat. And their head is facing that way, like toward the front. Okay. It's crazy because they can't sit down. And they got all kind of stuff going on, all kind of, you know what I mean? They got towels everywhere. It's a mess. It's a complete mess. They need a BBL plane for these people. I don't want to be on a plane with them. I don't really want to see that. We got medical stuff going on. We got all type of other things happening. I'm cool on that. So yeah, you might see that on Frontier. You might see that in Miami. Yeah, it's not really kosher, in my humble opinion. Paul says Frontier did a shakedown on my family and not leaving Disney World. Same luggage we arrived with, but somehow I gained 60 pounds at the gate to leave. Crooks. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, they're going to do that. That's what I'm saying. If you pay your money for whatever, then you'll be pretty much good. But the whole thing about weighing it, that's crazy. They're just trying to rob you at that point. I've never had my bags weighed ever before. That's a new thing to me. But, if they're trying to rob you, they'll do that. It's unfortunate. How they buckle their seatbelts? They don't. They can't. Because, I mean, what you going to put a seatbelt on your back, on your knees, across the seat, or like on your calves, like on the space in between your knee and your calf and the back of your knee? You put a seatbelt right there? They can't. For America says all too common on Miami flights, drains and all. Yeah. It's pretty gross. Yeah. So, Dana LS says, ABL, what would you do if you sat next to a morbidly obese person who was in your space? That's a good question. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. Thankfully, I've not had that experience, but I've seen that like next to me. But not in my row, but like next to my row, across the aisle. I don't know what I'm gonna do really. I probably just talk to the person like, yo, okay, we gotta figure something else. We gotta figure something out, boss, because I'm not a small person, but I'm not obese. I could fit pretty well in the center seat. I'm not gonna be touching You know what I mean? But if you're obese, man, we got to figure something out, doc. Like, okay, if like let's say for example, you're in the middle seat as an obese person. I need you to go in. Like if I'm in the aisle, okay, let's switch seats, boss. You get in the aisle. You put all the extra fat space in the aisle. Okay, so when the flight attendants are doing their service, you come on in and scrunch up. You could do it for a little while they coming by. But while they're not doing their service, you go ahead and just put your extra fat outside of the actual of the seat. You understand? So let's say, for example, this is the seat, right? And they okay, so here's the seat, and here's the fat they got, right? So the seat and the fat. So obviously all the fat is coming out of the seat. And let's say this right here is next to me, and this side over here is the aisle. So normally it's like that, right? Fat just everywhere floating around. Let's move the fat over here when the flight attendants are not up doing their service. Just scooch over, scoot your butt over, and scoot the fat that way. So then we got room to breathe on the window and in the middle. So I would do it like that. That's kind of how I would operate it. What? As people say, I'm eating. Next topic. What you want me to do? I'm just saying what I would do if I sit next to a morbidly obese person. I'm going to just figure out a way to make it happen. But yeah, you're not going to be in the middle seat, boss. I'm sorry. It ain't going to happen. You're going to deplane before I do that. It is what it is. All right. But I digress. But yeah, people still wearing their mask on the plane for no reason. Let me see. Wait a minute. AMG says I was boarding a flight about 6 years ago, and they had a narrow bridge-like walkway for us passengers to walk across and get weighed before we got onto the plane. That's crazy. Did you get on a small plane, like a Cessna type plane where where weight of the passenger really matters? If you get on the Airbus, I don't see how they would do that. They're just trying to rob you at that point. But if you get on a small plane, then why? But yeah, did you guys suffer any delays, any cancellations during the holiday weekend, or did you get to your destination pretty well? How was your weekend? Did you enjoy the Christmas weekend? You know, did you talk to your family and have any kind of discussion about politics? I never do that with family. I never do that. I said to you guys before, my cousin on my dad's side, we had a little Zoom meeting one time, and he was trying to bait me into a political conversation. You know, when he was saying little stuff, and all my family would get quiet because they already knew that I was going to be the guy to respond. I'm just like this. I'm not going to say a word. But how was your guys' experience? Did you have any delays? Did you have a good time with your family? Y'all let me know what's happening in the comments. Yeah, I don't mind sitting in the middle seat as long as I'm not being squashed to death by somebody that's, you know, 1 trillion pounds. I'm all right. But yeah, you can sit in the aisle, boss, and shift that fat across the edge of the seat to the aisle while the people are not in there doing their service. Yeah, never discuss politics ever with your family. No. We'll talk about anything else other than politics. You know, because somebody gonna start crying. I ain't trying to be the guy that made Aunt Gertrude start crying at the dinner table. I'm not that kind of person. I'm a loving person. I'm not trying to fight you. I'm a lover all day long. I'm not the kind of person that really gets you triggered to the point where you start crying. I don't want that I don't want that reputation on my jacket at all. Major delay from West Palm to ATL. Oh, is that right? That's interesting. No wonder why I was delayed from West Palm. Like West Palm, like what was it? What was the problem with that? ATL, there was a slight delay to ATL when I got back, like a half hour, but it wasn't a major delay. Maybe it was a problem with the whole service. Planes coming from other places couldn't get from point A to point B to get to you guys. I don't know. That's weird. JK says in Florida, it was 75 degrees, and I feel bad for all those in the cold. Stay warm. Yeah, definitely. The majority of your family is conservative, then you good money. Then you good. You know, but I still would kind of keep politics away from family because not everybody agree. If you guys agree, then it's fine. But I still probably wouldn't do it. Yeah, so it's all good. All right, but we got more topics on deck. All right, let's talk about your man, George Santos. Now, George Santos, I mean, what in the world? All right, so George Santos is a Republican. He just won a House seat in New York. He's also LGBT and married to a man, if I'm not mistaken, right? So he just won. But what he did that the Democrats don't like is that he flipped a seat from blue to red in New York. They don't like that at all. So now we got a problem. Now we got an issue, right? Let's play this clip right here. I think the thing that happened that they're saying he did was he lied about two major things. The first one was, hold on.
Customer service agent.
The first one was he worked for Citigroup and Goldman Sachs. The second was that he's Jewish. He's not Jewish, he's actually Catholic. But that's not really that big of a deal. Someone say he lied on his resume and they want him to resign. When I say they, I mean Democrats want him to resign. But if you're going to have him resign, then how about Pocahontas? Like, I don't want to hear one word. If anybody says a guy should resign on the left, I don't want to hear a word until Pocahontas resigns. And Pocahontas, like Elizabeth Warren, not only did she lie about being Native American, she lied about being Native to get a job. What was that, at Stanford, Harvard, whatever she was as a professor? She lied to get a job. Okay, so I'm not really trying to hear anything. And then she's still lying. Talking about some, oh, well, we did a DNA test and I'm 1024th Native American. It's like, lady, you are as white as snow. You are a white Christmas. You are the white queen. You're Snow White. All right. And the seven dwarfs, that's Congress. But you're Snow White. You are from the Baltics. Like, what are we talking about? You're like the first white woman ever. The Mayflower. That's you. Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren. Talking about something. Yeah, I'm still Native. It's like, man, come on. Let's play this right quick, and then I'm gonna keep on going. And shout out to George Santos. This is the guy who's under fire right now for lying on his resume, allegedly. Let's play it.
I didn't outright lie. So I worked as a customer service agent for 6-7 months of my life or so, 8 maybe, if at some point in 2011, 2012. I'm still qualified. I still understand what I'm doing. That nobody can take away from me. So for everybody who's ever interacted with me, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I do it. I've never.
Let's pause right here. So what happened was he put on his resume they worked for Goldman Sachs and Citibank, or Citigroup, pardon me. But what he did was work for a company that serviced him. So he wasn't an employee of Goldman Sachs in there moving and shaking, but he did do work for a company that did work for them. So that's kind of what that was.
Ever not done something I said I'd set out to do. Did I embellish my resume? Yes, I did. And I'm sorry. And it shouldn't be done. And there's words can't express 100% how I feel, but I'm still the same guy. I'm not a fraud. I'm not a cartoon character. I'm not some mythical creature that was invented. I'm no Russian puppet. I mean, for crying out loud, Putin could really go pound sand right now and or be dug under. I don't care. Like I said, I am not all these horrific things that are being said about me. Now, the one thing I will say is I'm sorry for having had a complicated life. Oh, maybe I married. Yeah, I did marry young, and I married a young woman at the time, and we pretty much were in love. And then
now, again, he's LGBT, remember? Keep that in mind. But he was married to a woman at first. But they got divorced. Then they got married to a man because he was trying to hide his homosexuality, I suppose. And then that happened. That does happen. Okay, so that was the whole plot to So I Got a Groove Back, right? You ever seen that movie where this old lady, now I'm sorry, an older woman goes to Jamaica, finds a younger man, then they mess around and get married. It was a true story. Mess around and get married, and then they get divorced, and he rounds out being gay. Now, part of me is like, you knew he was gay from the beginning. I saw them on Oprah, and like they were actually there. The real people, Terry McMillan, the author of the book, and her ex-husband. This dude couldn't have been looking more gay. It's like, how did you not see what was going on here? It's like, I can understand he's some kind of, big, tough football player looking dude and real masculine, but this dude was completely queer. But anyway, he was married to a woman, so they're trying to say you're not even really gay. You see what I'm talking about? They're trying to discredit him.
We weren't, because guess what? I decided after a long time, like many who don't, to come out and say, I'm gay and I'm not going to lead you along. And this is toxic and this relationship isn't going to work. And I set myself free and I set her free. But I challenge all 434 members of Congress, aside myself, in the House, to go through the same litany test I just went through last week. Open yourselves up to the media. Let them dig deep and pull in your deepest secrets. If we did that, we wouldn't have a single congressman in the House. And I bet you we wouldn't have a single senator in the Senate.
That's big facts, though. That's super big facts, because your man Joe Biden has a lot of stuff like that. Matter of fact, I'm going to come back to that interview. Let's bring up your man Joe Biden and just some things that he said through the years. Because he's told some whoppers, not even recently, about the whole thing of Ukraine and Hunter Biden. Not that, but just back in the day. Let's play this right quick.
I think I probably have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect. I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship, and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I won the international moot court competition. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees, and I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
So, I mean, come on. Like, let's keep it all the way real. Let's keep it all the way real. This guy's the president right now. The president of the USA. We're talking about the president, and nobody's saying, hey, you know what? You should resign over those lies you told, and you have been telling over the past 50 years of your political career. Nobody says that. But George Santos, not even in office yet, not even inaugurated yet, and they want him to resign because of some stuff on his resume. Some little things on his resume. Let's keep on going.
Do I wish you a happy Hanukkah or a Merry Christmas?
So, as I've said many times, and I think you've heard me say this, I always joke, I'm Catholic, but I'm also Jew-ish, as in ish. And I've made that joke because growing up, I grew up fully aware that my grandparents were Jewish, came from a Jewish family, and they were refugees to Brazil. And that was always the story I grew up with, and I've always known it very well. And I've told it the way it was told to me. Now, if it just strikes me so odd that people are rushing to disinherit me from being Jewish, or for even allowing to care for Israel and Judaism in a time and era where anti-Semitism is at an all-time rise.
Are there people, I'm sure there are, what do you say to them that are going to hold this against you and say that they can't trust you because of these exaggerations that you've made?
They were able to trust worse people. They were able to trust Andrew Cuomo, who sexually harassed women throughout his entire career. They were able to trust Tish James, who harbored a sexual predator as her chief of staff. They were able to trust a litany of politicians in this country who have literally sold this country out. Look at the president of the United States. It's not over. I am not resigning. I am getting sworn in, and I will get the job done for you. That's what you elected me to do. I'm sorry for the headaches, but life now moves forward, and we will have a good 2 years. And I make you a promise of that.
There you go. I mean, that was very well said to me. I like the guy. I mean, the whole thing with the resume and all that, I think it's kind of like a nothing burger. It's really not really a big deal. People just, they just say things They're saying things about him because they want to get him out of the way. The main thing that he did was win a seat that was disputed. Well, it was a blue seat, then it became a red seat. He flipped it in New York, and that's the reason why they're talking about him. Now, I guarantee you, if he was on the left, if he was like a regular normie liberal, then they wouldn't say a word. They would not say one thing, because there are plenty of lies over there all the time, and nobody really says anything about it. It's not really a big deal. Kamala Harris talking about, like, people like Kamala Harris represent themselves in a false way. Like, I saw Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff talking about Kwanzaa. Okay, you know what? I want to talk about Kwanzaa for a moment. I know I'm kind of like not sick to all my topics I have on my thing, but y'all got to bear with me. I'm just kind of rolling. So Kwanzaa, the thing about Kwanzaa, I found actually a pretty good piece about that. A quick, not a whole article, but just a quick piece about that, because I think my man, it might have been Clarence Weaver or somebody, or Clarence Mason, somebody interviewed him. Let me see if I can find that actual post. Y'all give me 1 second, and I'm gonna dig that up. But basically, he interviewed Ron Karenga, the inventor of Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa was invented like in the 60s or 70s, like during civil rights time. It's not an old holiday. It's not really anything that it's not a traditional thing. It's not African. It's an American that made that up in the 60s or 70s. It's kind of like the whole term African American that was coined in the 80s by Jesse Jackson. In the late 80s, they say, okay, rather than being called Negro, rather than being called colored, rather than being called black, will be called African American. That was decided by Jesse Jackson in 1980s, or it might have been Al Sharpton, one of the two. Okay, I didn't have a vote on it. I don't think anybody in my family had a vote. Nobody went door to door and said, hey, what do you want to be called? And then it was so. It was just a decree from some dude wearing a tracksuit that was super sweaty. You understand what I'm saying? With a curl that was dry and moist at the same time. So same thing with Hanukkah. It wasn't a thing that really people voted on. It wasn't a historic thing. It was a thing that just kind of came out of nowhere by one person, Ron Karenga. And this guy, Ron Karenga, is a criminal, tortured some women. He had a really bad record. Some people celebrate Kwanzaa, but I remember when I was a kid, and I'm from like the black community for real. Like when I was a kid, I lived in 100% black neighborhoods. I didn't live in a place that wasn't at least 50% black until I got to be like right now, for real. Until like right now, like in the past 2 years, and I'm 38. When I was a kid, I lived in 100% black neighborhoods up until high school. And then in high school, it was like 50% black. Nobody I knew, except for maybe like 1 or 2 kids, celebrated Kwanzaa. And we had all kind of stuff in Virginia. We had Afram Fest, we had Umoja Fest, which is a day in Kwanzaa, if I'm not mistaken. Unity, that's what Umoja means in Swahili, if I'm not mistaken. We had all kind of stuff like that in VA, but Kwanzaa was not really a thing. We learned about it in school, but it wasn't really, everybody just did Christmas. That's just what we did. Now, if you're living in somewhere else, it might be different, but we really didn't do that. You know, we just celebrated, hold on. It was Clarence Mason. Matter of fact, yeah. Let me see if I can, shout out to my man, Clarence Mason. I'm gonna see if I can pull that up right quick for you guys so I can just show you what's going on with that. About the whole thing of Kwanzaa. Okay, here it is. Here it is. All right, let me go ahead and just zoom in on it. Give me one moment. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Boom. So this is a Facebook post. I'm gonna read this right quick. It's just a little post. He says, "Why I dislike Kwanzaa. I interviewed Ron Karenga, founder of Kwanzaa, on my radio program in San Diego decades ago. I asked him if he spoke Swahili. He answered yes. I replied, unasema Kiswahili bwana? Translated, do you speak Swahili, sir? He did not understand. Then I asked him why the name Kwanzaa. It is not a Swahili word. He needed 7 letters for his 7 children, okay? Kwanzaa quote unquote, Kwanzaa is a made up word for made up holiday. Kwanzaa with one A at the end, not two A's at the end, like Ron Karinga spells it. Kwanzaa with one A at the end means first or firstly, but never represented as a holiday or principles in Africa. So I asked Karinga, why did he place this made up holiday between Christmas and New Year? He said, and wrote it in his book, quote, I want black people to stop worshiping the white Jesus, unquote. So there you have it, black folks. Happy fake day. Keep the principles of Jesus, not Kwanzaa. Clarence Mason Weaver. So yeah, shout out to my man, Clarence Mason. Yeah, that right there is a mess. This guy, Ron Karinga, I never celebrated Kwanzaa. But if you do, then hats off to you. I'm not trying to hate on you. I'm just saying that I never really understood it. I think what I was talking about when I brought that up was Doug Emhoff and Kamala Harris. Doug Emhoff is Kamala Harris's husband. What do they call him? The first gentleman? They call him the first gentleman. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up right quick. People were saying that it was robotic and no soul. They put her out there for any kind of minority outreach thing. And her and the husband, the Jewish guy, they just throw him out there for minority stuff. It's so obviously not even really real, but who cares, right? As long as they can just put somebody out there and say they did it, is all that really matters. You know, but then they say the Republicans don't know how to do any kind of messaging. It's stupid, but let's go ahead and play this. All right, let's not have the sound pierce your ears. Let me zoom in a little bit here.
Happy Kwanzaa. Doug and I send our warmest wishes to all of you this holiday season.
During Kwanzaa, we celebrate the history and heritage of the African American community and the African diaspora.
Growing up, Kwanzaa was always a special time. We came together with generations of friends and
Pause. Okay, Kamala Harris, let's just talk for a moment. Let's talk for a moment, okay? I know you guys want to see Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff talk about how great Kwanzaa is and what it means to them. I know you guys want to see that, but I want to pause for a minute. Kamala Harris is not an African American. Kamala Harris's father is from Jamaica, not America. Her mother is from Red Dot India, not America. And she grew up mostly in Canada, right? And what was that, Montreal or Quebec somewhere? Well, is it the same place? I don't really know. I'm not a Canadian. I know about poutine and the Mounties, whatever. But anyway, she's not African American. Am I wrong for saying that? I don't really know. I don't think that her mother, Red Dot Indian, had her growing up with the Kwanzaa celebration. I don't think she did that as a kid. Because first of all, it wasn't common to celebrate Kwanzaa anyway as a Black American. Me being from Virginia, being from Portsmouth, Chesapeake, all Black, 100% Black areas, that was not common at all. Everybody celebrated Christmas like everybody else did. So you living in Quebec with your Indian from India mom, how were you celebrating Kwanzaa? Tell me that.
And family and neighbors. There were never enough chairs, so my sister and I and the other children would often sit on the floor, and together we lit the candles of the Kinara, and then the elders would talk about how Kwanzaa is a time to celebrate culture, community, and family.
The elders? What elders? What, the elders from India? From Pakistan? Like, what are we talking about?
And they, of course, taught us about the 7 principles. My favorite principle was always the second, Kujichagulia, self-determination, the power to design your own life and determine your own future. And it is a deeply American principle, one that guides me every day as vice president.
To everyone celebrating, we hope your week is filled with love and light. From our family to yours, Happy Kwanzaa.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, man, the cringe is real. The cringe is real. Somebody said the Black come from my dad's side of the family. But, okay, that's not even the point. The point is that her dad's Jamaican. And is he even Black Jamaican? I'm not really sure. It don't really matter. He's from Jamaica. Do they celebrate Kwanzaa in Jamaica? I don't think so. I think not. Like, they don't celebrate Kwanzaa in Africa. That's not an African thing. They celebrate Christmas. If anything, they celebrate They're not gonna celebrate no Kwanzaa, no African American holiday. They ain't gonna celebrate no African American thing that was made up in the 60s in Nigeria. That makes no sense. To celebrate Christmas, yeah, but not Kwanzaa. I know Africans who tell me we don't do that in Africa. That's not an African thing. You put on that kente cloth, that ain't nothing but the same thing that the Ashanti wore in present day. What's that like Burkina Faso, Togo, Benin, Nigeria, a little bit, maybe some of Ghana. They were the slave traders. So you put on the kente cloth, you just wearing a slave trader outfit, talking about how black and pro-black you are, wearing the slaver outfit, and celebrating a thing that was made up by some sex offender in the 60s. I don't understand that makes any sense. But again, if you celebrate that and you enjoy it, I'm not hating. I'm just saying for me why I don't do it. But if you do it, then more power to you. Don't nobody get, if you're mad, I'm sorry. It's not my fault. Blame the white man. But anyway, I digress. All right. Humble 9300 said Jamaican is nationality, not ethnicity. I understand that, but the point is, you're not going to be celebrating a thing in Jamaica where that it's not part of your culture. It's like you're not going to be celebrating that in Africa. You're not going to be celebrating an American thing in a different country, just like they don't celebrate Independence Day in the United Kingdom. That's an American thing, not a United Kingdom thing. They don't celebrate Independence Day of the U.S. in Nigeria. There are certain things that are American, sports, traditions, holidays that don't happen in other places. Kwanzaa is one of them. That was the point. That's why I said her dad is Jamaican. Like, why would he celebrate a thing that is not part of his culture? And the same thing with her Indian mother. Why would she do that? It's not part of her culture. Her mother raised her in Canada for most part in private schools. How would they even enter her social circle? Matter of fact, let me show you guys a picture of Kamala Harris in her Indian garb. So you kind of see what I'm talking about and tell me if it makes any sense for these people to celebrate Kwanzaa. Okay, hold on. So does that appear to be a Kwanzaa celebrating family to you? I mean, let's just cut the nonsense. I mean, come on. Yeah, come on here. Red dots. Y'all celebrate naan bread, curry, all that good stuff. That's it. I mean, but you know, people just don't really care. As long as you got somebody that appears to be a person of color, they could put her out there for whatever. They could put her out there for something that happened in, you know, some tradition that happens in Tonga somewhere. They could put her out there doing a haka dance with your man from the NBA. What's his name? Stephen Adams, Aquaman, The Rock. They can masquerade her as a Pacific Islander if they want to for certain occasions. And she said, yeah, we did the haka dance and we were screaming, had the tongues out, all of that every year. We were with the elders. It's like, ma'am, you're not Pacific Islander. You're brown skinned kind of a little bit, but you're not Pacific Islander. Anyway, a lot of normies don't understand cultural differences. All they see is a skin color and focus on that. And I think going forward here, we should focus more on just individual cultures, what they do and how they live, and celebrating those differences and the beauty of that rather than worrying about the skin color. That's not really important, because when you're looking at an American that grew up here that happens to be black, quote unquote, and an African that grew up in Africa that's quote unquote black, they're night and day different a lot of times. They're not the same person. Okay, different languages, different cultures, different experiences, different everything. Not going to be the same. That makes more sense. Like, you're going to be having more in common with your white neighbor as a black American than you are with your African friend that just came from Africa the other day, a lot of times. All right. Let me see. I'm reading some of the comments here. Thank you all for being here. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. Oh, one more thing about Kwanzaa. The whole candle they got, that ain't nothing but a menorah, a remixed menorah. Okay, it's nothing but kind of a ripoff of Kwanzaa. I mean, pardon me, of Hanukkah. Kwanzaa is a Hanukkah ripoff, essentially, from a criminal that was kind of deranged. All right, but let me see. I'm gonna read some of these comments here. Then I keep on rocking here. All right, did I get to everything I wanted to get to? Kinda. I got to everything I wanted to get to. Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, Whoopi Goldberg. I'll talk about her. The Buffalo situation is kind of sad. I can talk about that maybe in the calls. But the Whoopi Goldberg thing. So Whoopi Goldberg almost got canceled again because she said she was just talking about an earlier interview. She was talking about some earlier comments she made. So you see this headline right here. Whoopi Goldberg denies doubling down on hurtful Holocaust comments, apologizes following ADL criticism. So this is crazy. People are quick to push the cancel button on somebody. They're making me defend Whoopi Goldberg. Out of everybody in the world, I have to defend Whoopi Goldberg because I stand on my principles. I don't care who it is. They could be the craziest nut job in the world, but I can't just let them say stuff like this to somebody, because if I let them say this to somebody, then when it happens to me or any one of you guys or anybody else, then I can't say a word because I didn't say anything when it happened to this person. That's just me though. Everybody's different. You may not feel that way, and that's fine. That's totally fine. No judgment. But I know I have to say something here. So here's what happened. Remember earlier this year when she got in some trouble for some things that she said? She was talking about that Holocaust wasn't about race. It was really just about it was about I forgot what she said. Like it didn't start about race and it became race, all this and that and the third. She was saying that Jews are white, so what are Germans? It was a big thing. And she got in some trouble. The ADL came out and said, you need to apologize. They tried to correct her. She had to go on Stephen Colbert, and he pretty much had to lecture to her like she was like a little girl. He was like, do you understand why it was a bad thing to do? Why it was a bad thing to say? It was very embarrassing. They embarrassed her really back then when she said that back in January, at the end of January, early February of this year. She was cut from The View for 2 weeks, a 2-week suspension. It was a whole big thing because of the comments. She came out and apologized for it and said that she knows now that Jews are a race and all this and that and the third. She cited the ADL and said she stands with the ADL, really apologized, and everything was fine. It's a 2-week period of being suspended. So then there was an interview in a London newspaper where they were asking her about that situation, and she was talking about that situation, and she was explaining how it happened, why it happened, and what she thought at that particular point in time. So people saw the new interview where she was discussing her old comments, and they were saying that she was doubling down. How am I doubling down? I'm telling you what happened back then. I'm telling you how I felt back then. I'm not saying I feel that way right now. So now you got them talking about she's doubling down. They making her apologize again. She's apologizing for people not even really reading the article and getting the full context, or for the newspaper representing what she said in an inappropriate way, making it seem like she was saying it again, and doubling down when really she was talking about what she said back then and why she said it. She's not saying she feels that way right now. So then they have to go back and do a retraction talking about, oh, she denies it and she didn't really say it or whatever. But see, the problem is when you come out and say something like that, when you say somebody's doubling down on hurtful comments, when you're doubling down on anti-Semitism, when you're being called to the table to apologize, all that and the third, when that happens, people only see they usually just see the initial headline. Whoopi Goldberg doubles down on anti-Semitic comments. They don't see that the article was it was retracted. They don't see the retraction. They don't see the apology from the newspaper. They don't see any of that. They don't see her follow-up statement when she said, look, I'm sorry for what I said now as I was back then. I'm not doubling down. I'm giving you a recap of the previous story. I'm not giving you a new story. They don't see that. All they see is the initial thing. So that's why the media sucks so much, because they don't do due diligence. They're quick to attack you to get ratings, clicks, views. They do no research. This is why the alternative media is beating the tar out of mainstream media. They suck, really. A bunch of these drug addicted people that don't know what's going on. that hate conservatives, that hate anybody that says anything about the Jays, like not even in a negative way. I could say the Jays are great people. I love them. They'll say ABL, anti-Semitic. He said the word Jays rather than Jews. Say the full word. It's like, man, come on. Really? Is that what we're going to do? Pick apart everything I say and trying to find something to attack me on? That's crazy. As I said, I'm no fan of Whoopi Goldberg. I don't like her politics. She's a complete nut job on The View. But this is crazy. This should happen to anybody, because if it happens to her, and understand this, she's on their side. She got a Jewish name and everything. Whoopi Goldberg, her name is Karen Elaine Johnson, but her stage name is Whoopi Goldberg. That's a Jewish name, ain't it? She's a leftist, wear a mask, Jewish name on their side, and they are attacking her for no reason. So if she's getting attacked, then so can you. And you might get attacked in a different way. You might get the Kanye treatment where you don't have bank account anymore. Your Apple Pay don't work anymore. You're getting dropped from brand deals. Okay, your wealth is being cut in half by 75%. All that good stuff. For what though? She didn't even say anything wrong. She was talking about what she said before that she already apologized for. This is crazy. So yeah, shout out to Whoopi Goldberg not even to her. Shout out to people that are able to see that she's being treated unfairly and can look past all the woke stuff on her show. Aside from all of that, just look at what's happening right here. That shouldn't be happening to anybody. The media, they're terrible. They're quick to cancel you. And the canceling is not just a social thing that is inconvenient. It can ruin your life. It can really ruin your life. And it's not a thing that should happen at all. So yeah, shout out to you guys that really get that. Okay, we got super chats on deck. Then we're going to get to the calls. And before I continue, shout out to Shakira Archery, the woman who saved the man in Buffalo, New York, alongside her boyfriend. Her and her boyfriend saved an elderly man in Buffalo, New York. He was in his 60s, and he had mental challenges. What happened was he was outside. I think he was trying to walk home because he was scared. Like, he was working at a place. The snow probably started, and then he stayed, most likely. Then he tried to walk home and got caught in the snow. So Shakira and the boyfriend were able to help him get out of the snow. They treated his wounds. He had very severe frostbite. He almost died out there. They were able to get him from point A to point B. I think first what happened was they got him some help. Just some immediate help. His hands were frozen. Let me put up a picture right quick. I'm not going to show any kind of wounds, but that's them right there. So when they found him, he had a Wegmans grocery store bag frozen to his hands. Like the handle of the bag, the plastic bag was frozen to his hands. It was so cold out there, so much snow out there. He had socks on that were frozen. They had to cut the socks off. They had to blow dry his clothes. Like, he was like almost freezing. He was almost frozen to death out there, right? Of course, you can, as a human being, freeze to death. That almost happened to this man. But Shakira and the boyfriend were able to rescue this man, bring him into their home. Then they called for help. She did a Facebook or something, because obviously it's 4 feet of snow in Buffalo. It's hard to get from their home where they were and where they found the man right next to their home. It's hard to get from there to the hospital without having a big truck and plows and everything else. So they put the plea out there on Facebook, and they were able to get help. They got somebody with a big truck. They got the snow plowed out the way. They got him to the hospital, and now he's recovering in the burn unit. So yeah, shout out to them for making that whole thing happen. That's what America's all about. The whole race thing is irrelevant. I did not mention that one time in the video. It doesn't really matter. It's all about just trying to help your neighbor. You see somebody in distress. If you can help the person in distress, go ahead and help them. Elderly man out there fighting for his life in the cold. If you can help him, go ahead and help. You know, they contacted his family. They know where he's at. So it's all good. You know, 4 feet of snow and it's super cold is crazy, especially when it falls very quickly. When it falls quick like that, people were caught in their cars in the snow and died in their cars because it was coming down so fast. Now they're trapped out here. Maybe they ran out of gas. It got too cold in the car, whatever it is. And then it's cold. You're freezing to death. And next thing you know, it's over with. So, yeah, definitely bless them. There were a few people that got found in their cars. I saw the nurse that was in the car frozen to death. It was a few of those that happened. The death toll is super high, like 50 deaths from different things. If you're shoveling snow, please be careful because that puts a lot of strain on your heart. You're going to have cardiac distress from shoveling snow. People died from that. They died from exposure, just being out in the cold. They died in their cars. They died in a variety of ways. One person, I saw a video. I wish I could unsee it. It wasn't that graphic, but it was pretty bad. The person was face out on the snow, and they were dead, just out there. So yeah, be careful. Please be careful out there if you're living in a cold place like that, where you can have potential blizzards, lake effect snow out there in Buffalo. You have Lake Erie right there to the west, and then to the north you got Lake Ontario, right by Canada. Very, very cold place. So yeah, I can't do the cold like that. I'm sorry. I'm down south. It got kind of cold down here, and I wasn't really feeling it. You know, I'm not far from ATL. I'm in Tennessee, and it got to be kind of cold. I'm glad I was in Virginia when it got to be in the 7 degrees. I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm not going to do it. So yeah, several degrees below zero, big crazy snow. Nope. Not going to do it. But anyway, we got super chats on deck. I'm going to read those right quick, and then I'm going to get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, the number to call, 434-658-1220. Let's get to the super chats here. Thank you to Jeff Jones, who says it's a cult symbol. They want the other members to know they're all in. Science be dang. Yeah, there you go. Michael Critchlow says, did you see some New Jersey lawmakers are looking to reverse their no cash bail policy? Looks like some legislators are having buyer's remorse. Well, I wouldn't doubt it because people are starting to complain saying, hey, man, you got all these criminals out here just roaming the streets. Then, we got a problem. We can't have that going on. So, yeah, they probably do want to reverse that for the sake of their constituents and the crime rate. They want to preserve, not preserve it. They want to just make that whole crime rate go down or go away. So not surprising at all. Thank you to Steesley, who says, I like what some of Cardone says, but he wants to sell lights out of people. If you don't need to fly private or wear designer, $400K is plenty. Exactly. Yeah. If you don't need designer, you're good money. You're fine. $400,000 is more than enough to live on. All right. Let's go ahead and get to the calls. The number to call, 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. And Skype should work now because I'm at the crib. I'm not out on the road traveling. And I was able to fix that afterward, actually. I was able to fix my whole thing with the Skype. So that should be good to go. But I just want to make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. And I believe it is. All right. Flap Jackson says, rather have snow than a hurricane. Well, yeah. I don't know. Hurricanes, I've lived through hurricanes. They're not really that bad, honestly. Unless you get a real violent hurricane. If you live far enough inland or up a little bit, then you'll be fine. NKM said I go live on Instagram last time. Yeah, I was on Instagram live last time. I sure did go live on Instagram. Shout out to my man, Gent Machine Co. He was able to live, like simulcast that on his page. So some of you guys who may not have been able to see that, if you weren't able to see it on Instagram, he was able to put it on YouTube for some of y'all. So shout out to you guys that were in there watching the stream that way, if you cannot watch it directly on Instagram. But yeah, it was cool. It worked out pretty well. 860, you on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Day Ranger Xbox, buddy.
All righty. What's happening?
I'm getting a little bit of echo, but I can deal with it.
I'll fix that, but go ahead.
want to touch on a couple of points real quick, and then I'm out of here because you got some really good callers, and I like listening to smart people. But the whole Paul Pelosi thing, real quick in a nutshell, to me was remember they were riding that January 6th before the election, or January 6th, big insurrection, so President Trump can't ever run for president again if you're involved in an insurrection. That's why they're pushing that. But Pelosi did his little stunt with the man that had been arrested for being a male of the night, kind of like a lady of the night, but a male of the night, for male for hire, let's say. But I think it was, when you have an alcoholic drug addict trying to do something, this is the end result. They're trying to stage a little, conservative attack on the Pelosi's to gain sympathy with the voters to sway the election, I guess. That's my thoughts on that real quick. But Kamala Harris, her stepdaughter, do you know who she models for?
I'm not sure.
Well, it's the same people that make the teddy bears that you use on your OnlyFans page. I'm just joking. But, the same ones that make the bondage teddy bears and the little girls posing. That's who she models for.
Balenciaga.
Yeah, bingo. Now, another little tidbit of information, that Sam Bankman-Friedman.
Yeah.
Whose parents set up that Ponzi scheme because he ain't smart enough to do it. His parents did that. They bought a $181 million resort complex in the Bahamas. Wonder where they got that money, teaching law at a university. But when he got out of jail, do you know where he went?
No.
Alto Palo, California. Now, why does that town in California ring a bell?
Oh, that's the center of the tech hub. That's the Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff, right?
That's where the accuser of the Boy Scout, the Eagle Scout, Brett Kavanaugh, comes from.
Oh, okay.
So don't tell me there's not an elitist, intellectual, that our man Jordan Peterson talks about, these idiots that are in college that think they're something because they got a piece of paper, But that's where his parents have I guess a summer home, But and Kamala Harris's parents were both scientists, if I remember correctly. They were not slouches or poor people. So I just love it when she gets up there and just talks about being poor.
Yeah,
but,
it's pretty silly. I mean, it's like, man, come on. Like, what are we talking about?
And then I'm going to say this one more time, ABL, about the virus and all that, and the stupid masks. And I walk up to people here in Connecticut because these idiots are still driving around their car by themselves with a mask on. A couple of them are wearing face shields with the mask, and it's like, oh, my God. But, I'll see somebody up in the grocery store, and I'll say, excuse me, I just got to say something because I went through 4 years of training for nuclear, biological. And do you know what biological warfare entails? Germ warfare. Ever hear that?
Oh, no, I haven't.
Viruses, bacteria.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying, that's NBC training. Nuclear, biological, your germ warfare, and your chemical. And we practice that every 6 months for a week at a time. And anybody that was in Europe when the Soviet Union was around will tell you, yep, every 6 months we're doing nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare training because the Soviets plan all their massive assaults around a massive artillery, rocket, and gas, and their troops come in wearing their full mop gear. So you got to practice for that. So here's what I got to say about your little cloth mask. I challenge anybody that tells me that thing works to wear that thing into a gas chamber. Because what I learned is, and the whole purpose of the gas chamber is to show you that if your mask works inside the gas chamber, it works outside the gas chamber. And that's all I'm going to say about that. You take it for what you want. Do your research on military training for nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare. And I'm going to close with this. Thank God for Bill Gates and the NIH, because they already got the next pandemic all planned out for us. It's called catastrophic contagion, and it's going to be extremely deadly to children. So you can find that on Rumble. They lay it all out. You can find it on Redacted. Redacted is one of my favorites, one of my top, 10 favorite places to get information, because they're pretty accurate and they're very neutral, but they're both retired newscasters that just got tired of the lies. And remember, Reuters is owned by the Rothschilds. And I'll close with that, my brother. You have a great night. Love your show. Love. I tried to get it through when you were remote, but it didn't work. But God bless you and God bless America. Good night.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you. All righty. Great call. Let's go to 805 and online. Who am I speaking to?
My name's Ray.
All righty. What's happening?
I just saw that mention of Grant Cardone, and I thought it was kind of funny that he would say that, because I don't really think anyone should be listening to TikTok for financial advice. Like, it sounds like common sense, but I really wish there was more technical content out there for people, because there's a lot to learn, but it just requires people to do their own research, really. Because you never see people talking about how to benefit from the foreign tax credit the most, right? I don't think I've ever seen a video about that, but there's definitely states where it's for California, for example, there's zero benefit to a foreign tax credit from other countries. But a state like Arizona, you can double what is essentially given to you from the federal side. So really, state to state, there's vastly different treatments. So I just wish there was more technical content out there for people that actually teaches people something.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. I think a lot of what's going on right now, the things that get the most attraction and attention are the kind of flashy lifestyles, big cars, and all that kind of thing, and not so much the technical nitty gritty about how to actually do things you're talking about. That's not as, that's not as attractive. That's not as sexy as, I got a really big car. You can get a really big car too.
Yeah, and it's kind of misleading too, because say someone's in the business of flipping a house, okay, they're not necessarily going to make $400,000 because they're putting money into essentially a piece of inventory, which that house is, to later sell. They're not necessarily making $400,000, but eventually they're going to. But it's I don't see how you could possibly fault someone who's out there, busting their butt trying to get this house sold and flipped. And there's a kind of a misconception with the you have to make $400K, because it's well, that's $400K in income, and the government's going to take half of that. Whereas I would really prefer to have a change of $400K fair market value, through unrealized increase, and not be taxed on any of it. Because it's he's telling people the wrong strategy, because it's yeah, you push people into income. It sounds good and all that, but you just don't think of the tax hit you're going to be taking, because it's actually what people try and do is minimize the tax hit, because they don't want to pay 50% in taxes once they get to be really successful. So I'm not even sure who he's trying to talk to, because if you make $400K, the general strategy is to make less than that, so you're not actually paying so much in taxes.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. If you're trying to, you can have that much money you might be able to bring in, but you don't pay yourself that much. So that should be a whole different thing. But those big numbers and big cars and whatnot, it sounds great to a person, but he's not talking about some things like, okay, you have business expenses and whatnot, at least not in that speech. I'm not hearing anything about business write-offs, and I'm hearing about making a big amount of money, putting it into your pocket, not other things that make more sense than just that.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll just end with it's going to be incredibly boring, but I think it goes a long way if people just do their own research on what the laws and the regulations as far as taxes go. And trust me, it's going to be boring, but your time is much better spent doing that than listening to any random TikTok person.
Right on, absolutely.
All right, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate you. All right, shout out to the caller. Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. I didn't think about that part, about the whole thing of you can make 400 grand. I guess you can make that kind of money. You could put that into your pocket, but if you're bringing in that kind of revenue, you probably don't want to have that kind of money on as far as your income on your income tax. That's not really, you want to have that be low as possible without getting into the whole realm of without getting into the whole realm of trying to do any kind of money laundering or any kind of tax evasion. 405 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, it's me, Dustin from Oklahoma. How's it going?
It's all good, man. What's happening?
Well, other than trying to survive the craziness at work, I've been doing all right.
Well, good to hear it.
Well, you were talking about, the loot boxes and games. I'm kind of on your side of, not having them in games, because, I was kind of against them as well. Because, there was a recent story on Facebook on a local news station that there was a kid that spent like $900 of his mom's charged like $900 I think of his mom's credit card, I think was it, and she's trying to fight the charges, I think was.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it because these kids, they figure out how to use how to buy this digital currency, and they'll do it, and then all of a sudden you get a crazy bill, $1,000, but it's a problem. It's a serious issue.
Yeah, and it was all on her iTunes account, if I remember right, and I don't. I see why people are, really against it, and I do see your problems with it, and I do remember this being a big issue with some other big name games like I believe it was Star Wars Battlefront 2 and many other big games, and I do see their issues, but I mean, I could take this further with you, but I don't want to make this a 2-hour debate with you because I can go on and on with this discussion with you. I mean, we probably had to set them up because, like I say, I don't want to make this a 2-hour discussion with you. So I just want to say, I want to give you my point of view of this thing, that this is an issue with, especially when it's targeted to very young children. I mean, it really does need to be regulated. It should not be in, getting games towards children at all.
Right, absolutely.
So I mean, and one more thing, that beard of yours is looking really good, but it's not as good as mine. I just want to say that. And Happy New Year's, and I want to wish all your listeners a Happy New Year's as well, man.
Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate Happy New Year to you.
All right, you too, man. Bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. But yeah, if you guys didn't quite hear all of that, we were talking about loot boxes and whatnot in video games and a lot of the digital currency and some of the games that are targeted to children. And that needs to be kind of regulated because, kids are figuring out ways to get into their mother's the pocketbook and running up big bills that they really can't pay. It's a mess. And they're getting kids addicted to that kind of stuff as well, which is not very good. 708, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, you're speaking to Dan.
All right, man. What's going on?
Couple points about the whole George Santos situation.
Yeah.
It's a couple points I think a lot of people are missing.
Okay.
One, they're going after him so hard, not because he's lying, not because he lied about his academic record. You know, as you mentioned earlier, Joe Biden has lied. He lied about being arrested in South Africa with Nelson Mandela. Elizabeth Warren, she lied. Mandela Barnes, who ran for governor in Wisconsin, he lied about his academic record. Democrats been lying about this stuff. So it's not that. I think it's because he's gay. And I think it's because he's gay. And I think that might be showing that maybe Republicans are starting to make some inroads with the LGBT community. And the Democrats can't have that because that's one of their most loyal fan bases, them and black women. So I think they're trying to shut this down real quick. And then the second point is, how is Tulsi Gabbard the fill-in host for Tucker Carlson? Because she interviewed Santos on Tucker Carlson's show, correct?
Yes.
So how did that happen? Like, Tulsi Gabbard was a Democrat not even a year ago, and now she's a fill-in host on Fox. I think that's showing that Fox is pivoting away from Tucker, Trump, and the whole MAGA movement, and they're trying to pivot towards the center. So those are a couple of points I think some people are missing about the Santos issue. I'll hang up and let you comment.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, I agree with that as far as Fox trying to pivot toward the center. Yeah, I most certainly agree, because the thing is, they understand that the MAGA movement, that's there, but you want to be able to get more people. It's the same thing with what we're talking about as far as the same thing I talk about when I talk about DeSantis being a better pick than Donald Trump to run in 2024. I like Trump. If Trump was to get a nomination, I'd vote for him. So don't misunderstand me. But what I'm saying to you is that DeSantis would be the better pick because he'd be able to get more people than Trump would. He'll be able to get the conservatives that are going to vote conservative regardless, and he'll be able to get the center. Now, there are going to be a few diehards that refuse to vote for DeSantis for whatever the reason. That'd just be shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, if you can't get Trump, then why not vote for another guy that's also conservative, has the same views as the guy that you wanted to vote for? But anyway, those people won't be enough to move the needle, really, as far as those that would not vote for DeSantis. The people that vote for DeSantis, you want them. You want them to be right in the middle. And I think Fox News has that same viewpoint from their perspective. You know, that's kind of what's going on there. 773 on the line, I'm speaking to.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Bill. Listen up about the whole snowfall we got last week. Some houses got frozen along Lake Erie, and pretty much it's gonna break your heart and make you really hate Eric Adams. But several people died, and the mayor there absolutely did nothing but kind of went on vacation like Biden and all the other Democrats, while everybody else is freezing to death.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy out there.
Yeah. Anyway, and something pretty shocking is that Michelle Obama has said that over the last 10 years she does not like Barack Obama. So apparently there is a little bit of trouble in their little rainbow.
you said what now?
In their little rainbow, because, you know, the little joke we make around here about.
Right. I'm with you.
about her.
Right.
Anyway, I just saw Brandon Tato's video on Balenciaga, and it turns out that Kamala Harris has some involvement with this.
Okay.
Yep. Apparently her daughter's was on the staff or one of the models involved with the whole ad.
Yeah, not surprising at all. You know, that's pretty much that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think people should be far more outraged because that kind of makes her a pedophile if you actually really think about it.
Yeah, I can see that point of view for sure.
That whole ad in and of itself is pretty much a violation of every single constitutional and civil rights for those kids. And the worst part is that no other civil rights group seems to be outraged about it to begin with.
Yeah, of course not.
Okay. Well, ABL, I do strongly disagree with your video about defending Whoopi Goldberg because all she did recently was just double down on her previous comments and not really explain.
Well, she didn't. She didn't do that. She didn't double down. Because it was the question that she was asked a question about her comments previously, and she was just talking about her comments previously. That was the context. Now, if that wasn't the context, then you could say that she was doubling down. But if you're asked about your comments and you're talking about your comments previously, that's not doubling down. You're just talking about your previous statements.
Okay, but from other videos I've seen of people reviewing about this, a lot of them did say she was kind of doubling down on it and didn't seem to be somewhat regretful about her previous statements.
I mean, everybody has their own opinion about but if you actually read what the article said, if you read what she said, that's just not the case. People just ran with the initial story from the media, which was fake. And when the media realized that they were wrong, they all went back and retracted their statements. They had to do updates and retractions. People just reacted too quickly to the story without doing due diligence. And that's the whole point I was making. People just react so quick to cancel without really reading and seeing what's going on. You just react. And I think people reacted too quickly.
Okay. Well, the articles I was reading about it was from the Gateway Pundit, Federalist, and a few other sources.
And if you go back to those same places, they probably would do a retraction. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. But I will like to ask you, as you've been following part 9 and 10 of the Twitter files, as well as Tucker Carlson's recent interview with the Libs of TikTok founder.
I've not really been following the Twitter files that closely because it's not really anything new that I didn't know. Really, for the most part, it's kind of what I already had been known about Twitter and about social media. But now, as far as the Libs of TikTok interview, I did see some of that. I saw that there was a face reveal from the person behind the account. That was pretty cool, but I've not seen the full interview quite yet.
Okay, well, probably can find out Tucker's website, and I really think it's kind of brave of her to kind of do this, and she's far more braver than any of these feminists who claim to be, quote, empowering young women, because a real leader would actually be taking some chances and doing what's best for the bigger picture than just some selfish goals, which is what we see from modern feminism. And
right on.
I really think she should put together some type of bigger lawsuit, because we all know that the media, as well as all these outfit groups, will be kind of coming after her just for exposing a lot of the Democrats' pedophilia, especially in the rainbow community.
Right on, man. Well, thank you for your call as always. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay, bye.
All right, toss my man for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. And I appreciate y'all as well. You guys on the drill, number to call 434-658-1220. 470, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Anthony. Hey, it's Greg from Wild and Wacky Atlanta. How you doing, sir?
It's all good, man. How about yourself?
Good. Well, haven't gotten shot yet or died from this cold.
There you go.
Got it on Christmas. So, how's your snow up there in Tennessee?
We just had like little snowflakes and like maybe like a dusting that accumulated overnight and then it melted in the morning.
Yeah. We got a little bit of snow around 10:45. Well, but 10:45 Monday night, and it started coming down harder until about 1:32, and then it stopped. Melted the next day, most of it. So
right.
Anyway, so wow, what else is going on, man? How you holding up?
Oh, everything's all good, man. You know, just I'm feeling the warm up here. It was kind of warm today, like 55, and I think by the time we get to New Year's Day, it'll be in the 60s and for the high. So that'd be pretty good.
Yeah. So what are the latest comments that's coming from Whoopi Goldberg? What'd she get herself in trouble with this time? I didn't hear the whole thing. I remember the comment she made about the Nazi Holocaust about 4 months ago or so.
Yeah, so
I don't recall exactly what she said this time around.
Yeah, basically, there was a newspaper in London that was asking her about those previous comments, and she was talking about the previous comments, but people, I guess, didn't read the full article, and they thought that she was doubling down on those comments, but it wasn't that. She was just being asked. So then, they cancel her and saying, oh, she doubled down and all this and that. But then when they realized that she was talking about the previous comments, they all issued retractions and updates to the articles and things of that nature.
Yep. Well, it's the Nazis that were the ones that defined the Jews as being a different race. The Jews have been intermixed so many times over the past 800 to 1,000 years in Europe, with Germans and Poles and Russians. So they're more or less white, by this point,
Right.
Especially the past 200-300 years. So there were some Germans that were so blonde-haired, blue-eyed. I remember one story I read about World War II. These two brothers got draft notices to join the German army. They didn't join, though.
Right.
They could have gotten away with it. Like a lot of Jews served in the German army. A lot of people don't realize about 150,000 German Jews served in the German armed forces, Army, Navy, Luftwaffe, and a few in the SS. But it's it's not a very well-known story, but it's true. Check into it. Hitler's German Jews. But anyway, well, I just want to say hello, and I'm glad you're doing all right. And we want to wish you a happy New Year, and be safe, and be careful. The cold's going out there really bad right now.
All right, man. Well, thank you for your call as always. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, man. Thanks. Take care. Bye.
All right, shout out to my man for the call. You guys are doing a great job tonight. Appreciate you guys. If you like what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. And what he's saying about the situation with the Germans and all of that is correct. But the thing is, she wasn't even trying to actually say that. She was just talking about what she said previously that she apologized for. But they thought that she was just trying to bring it back up and double down. It's like at this point, you're just searching for somebody to cancel. You're searching. That's what's going on with that. And it's kind of ridiculous, to be quite frank with you. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. Like, cancel somebody that really needs to get canceled. If she says something that actually is cancel worthy, and she really said it and wasn't just rehashing old stuff, then but beyond that, it's like, come on, what are we doing? All right, 929, you don't allow who am I speaking to? 929, hello.
Anthony, how you doing, man?
It's all good. What's happening?
Yes, Merry Christmas. I know it is kind of like late, but it is still Christmas or a week back, so Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you for that, man.
And to
Merry
everyone
Christmas.
who watch the stream too.
Right on, man. Merry Christmas.
Yes, let's talk about the on the bus build. Do you know what I call it? I call it the Sessions Mountain of Shit build. Because it's full of bits of shit.
Whoa! You can't. Whoa! You can't curse now. Come on, be careful.
Oh, sorry about that. I mean, when they bust this, I am too angry. You see, our country are destroyed slowly by those communists.
Yeah, we definitely don't want that to be going on.
Yes. So do you want me to read it out loud, or do you just want me to summarize it because it contains a lot?
Yeah,
Yes.
no reading, no reading, please. Just give me a quick summary.
So one is for the climate humongous climate change, which is similar to the elder. I forget the country name. I believe it is the the Netherlands. They force the farmer to sell their cattle and destroy their farm for the so-called like zero CO2 emissions. The second is the gun control. The third one is for the rainbow community. The fourth one is there will be a protest vote against any bill in the future that is funding for the border, funding the southern border, funding the U.S. military, funding the flood bill, which means that even if any of those bills pass, the Democrats they can start a protest bill to vote against to stop it from passing, which it means that it accepts the minority vote, despite there is a small number of vote against it. Do you understand what I say?
Yeah.
Yes. And more money to prosecute the politician prisoner, which is the Chinese peaceful protester, to prosecute more them, and burn PS stuff for the gender equality to Pakistan, and the border security to the foreign country. Well, that is all I can say. It is a lot more.
Right, of course.
We still not. Anthony, do you know why? Do you know why there are the majority of rhinos? I mean that there is enough of them to vote to pass, to turn the Zelensky, to turn the U.S. capital into the Zelensky bank.
And so where now? I didn't quite catch that.
Yes, it is because of a slippery slope, and I have to start from our holy ally, which I mean Israel. And guess what?
What's
about our holy alliance, you can search on the Dancing Israelite and the USS and the.
I know where you're going. Wait. I know where you're going. Let's not do that because they're going to try to snipe my stream. But I know where you're going. But let's not tonight.
Oh, well, this is why I believe you should start a live stream on Odyssey and Rumble too. You know.
You said like on Rumble or something?
Yes, on the Rumble and on the Odyssey channel. So we can talk more about spicy stuff that we're not afraid of censorship.
I got you.
Yes. So my message is American first, always American first. The foreign country last, no matter what. And I don't care if they say about, oh, but it is true. They're Christians. I don't care about that. American first is American first. That is the matter. I don't care about foreign country. Just remove the foreign country away. That's it.
Right on, man. Well, thank you for your call, always. Definitely appreciate you.
Yes, let go, Brandon, and the salt must flow.
All righty, man. Thank you for your call. Let's keep on rocking here. You guys want to do the number to call 434-658-1220. 773 on the line. Speaker to
ABL, it's your retired Chicago police officer friend. How you doing?
It's all good. What's going on?
Listen, ABL, I just wanted to touch on a point. There's a lawsuit here in Illinois against that Safety Act. That's the no bond that's supposed to start January 1st. We're the first state in the country to enact that act. The Safety Act, spelled SAFE-T. It stands for safety, accountability, fairness, and equity today. So there's a lawsuit against that, and it's not the reason that you would think. The reason that they have the lawsuit is that they're saying that in the legislature, you can't bring up more than one item line in a bill like that. And that's what they're suing about. They're saying it was, against the rules to package everything under one bill. So, you only can have one at a time, which, obviously the real reason is that there will be more criminals on the street, and we want to do away with that. But, the thing is that that's going to start January 1st. Our governor Pritzker, he was elected back in by these Democrats, and he actually said that the Safety Act, I'm looking for his quote. Give me 1 second. He was saying that it's for, to keep the community safe. How are you keeping the community safe by outlawing arrests for criminal trespass to property, second-degree murder, gun charges, all these other things? They're letting these guys go with no bond. And, of course, they're trying to say that they're doing that because it's unfair, because if you or I shot somebody, regardless of if it was justified or not, we would have the money to put up our bond. But poor people can't put up the bond. Well, they're living criminal lives. Some of them can put up the bond and some can't. But you're letting these criminals out on the street immediately. All you're doing is you're arresting them, fingerprinting them, photographing them, and letting them go with no bond. It's a signature bond. It says, I promise to show up in the court. It doesn't say, I promise not to rob and steal, kill anybody. It's really, the trend that is happening in this country and in some of these cities like my own is unbelievable, ABL. It just really is. It's disheartening.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And I don't understand what they think they're doing with that type of stuff. Like, who is it helping? It's not helping the regular everyday person. It has to fight these criminals off in the street. So I don't really get the purpose.
Right. I believe what they're trying to do, because it also mentions in the article that I was reading, it was talking about the reorganization of some of the voting districts. Instead of looking like a rectangle or a triangle, the borders of these voting districts, it looks like spaghetti. Why? They want to dilute, a solid Republican vote, like a neighborhood that has solid Republican votes or other neighborhoods. Instead, what they've done is they've restructured the voting district to include areas that would likely vote Democratic and change the vote. If you look at some of these borders, like a map, and I think you've done this in other cities before, where it looks like spaghetti. The district reaches out to neighborhoods to turn the vote, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to appeal to at least families of criminals, I mean, criminals have families that they love and they treat right, even though they might not treat the public right, and they might rob and steal against the public, but they have mothers and brothers and friends that, look out for them. That's why you see on TV, oh, he was the nicest guy. Yeah, he was the nicest guy while he was robbing a 7-Eleven and shot and killed the clerk.
Exactly.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous of what's happening out there. And I don't know. And here's the thing. This goes for the general public, too, all around the country. I said it before, ABL. They make these policies that endanger you more, but then they point somewhere else as the reason that the neighborhood is dangerous or the country is dangerous. Instead of looking at the border and seeing how many people are coming in, how many fentanyl and drugs are coming in from the border because you have no border policy, then they point somewhere else. They call you racist against the people that, refugees or whatever you want to call them that are coming into this country, and they point somewhere else. This Safety Act is going to raise crime in this city, which is already through the roof, but yet they point somewhere else and say, well, it's not from the policy. This policy makes the thing safer. It's because of this or because of that. They never own up to what some of their things, to what happens because of their policies. And it's the same with Biden. Never wants to point that maybe by Biden being weak and our military being weak by, leaving places and just leaving things to happen on their own. We let the pacifists take over. And that's the real killer, is because look around the world. Things happen out of force. When you have genocide in Africa or genocide from the Khmer Rouge in, Vietnam and Cambodia and all that, that happens by force. You cannot let the passive American rule the roost. You have to have some kind of strength and some kind of protection. And they don't find out until the inevitable crap hits the fan, excuse my language. But that's when they find out. And it's the same with the snowstorm, if I may make a light reference. You don't know how in danger and unprepared you are until something happens. Suddenly you find yourself in the middle of a snowstorm, stuck in your car. You have nowhere to move. You can't walk out of the snowstorm, and you end up freezing and dying in your car. And it's the same thing. You don't have a military or you don't have a police force in this country, and suddenly someone aggressively takes you over. Maybe it's a criminal coming into your home. Maybe it's a whole army coming from another nation. But if you're not prepared, you are going to suffer the consequences. And then you look at Big Brother. How many people have you seen on TV that say, well, the emergency services here in Buffalo didn't do a good job? Well, they're in the snowstorm too. It takes them just as long to get to people. And there's a lot of people that need to be saved. And they can't save you. You have to save yourself. But, you need to be prepared. And, when you're not prepared, this is what happens. It happens with the military, the police, or just services for a snowstorm. And we're going to see a real storm come January 1st. You're letting every criminal that doesn't care. You couldn't trust them not to put a gun in your face to steal your wallet. What makes you think you could trust them not to shoot you or to be let go after being caught and go do it again? So
right on.
That's my 2 cents there, ABL. Great show. Always proud to participate on your show, ABL. And I'll talk to you later.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you. All right. Great call from my man from Chicago, Illinois. Great call. All righty, Les, what's happening?
Hey, ABL, how are you?
Everything's all good. How about yourself?
Good. How did you? Well, I know that you went IG live on the 24th. How was the 25th for you?
Oh, everything was good. Had a good day. Glad to be in Virginia. So yeah, definitely enjoyed my time down there.
That's good to hear. So what was the highlight gift of your day? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, I don't get gifts. I don't get gifts anymore. But my gift was really just being around my family. I hadn't seen it in a long time, so it was just being around my family, seeing my little cousins and whatnot grow up. That was a highlight for me, seeing my family.
Not even a hat.
Nah, I don't get gifts. I'm the gift giver really more than anything else. I don't get gifts.
And not just pulling your leg. Nah, it's all right. Trust me. I think once you get to a certain age, it's kind of whatever. You just, if you have like nieces or nephews, like little siblings, I think that's all that matters. Just seeing the smiles on their faces, them opening up their gifts. Now it's kind of like it's their turn.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick 2 comments here. So it was so funny when you showed with the whole Kamala thing. That was so cringe.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, I think it's still funny how she tries to, play off that she's African American, but then yet again, she's playing the narrative, of course, the usual narrative, just like Pocahontas did for a very long time.
Oh yeah, that's it. But I guess that was the whole thing behind having her be the vice president. It's like, okay, we'll have her do some of the minority outreach stuff. I got an in-house person just for that reason. So we knew what it was from the very beginning.
Right. And then you have, I wanted to make a quick comment here because it was such a point. I know you're like, I didn't point it out. I didn't say anything, but you see it here with the elderly buffalo man that was rescued.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it proves a good point there, right? It doesn't matter the color of your skin. All that matters at the end of the day is your character. That's all that matters at the end of the day. And I know a lot of people were talking about the Tate brothers, and by all means, they're very interesting individuals. There's only one topic that I don't agree with them on when they talk about in the sense of marriage and, all these women, right? That's the only thing I don't pretty much agree with them. Everything else that they talk about makes a very good point. But Andrew Tate did say, at the end of the day, do you think that when billionaires, millionaires come together, do you think we're all looking at the color of people's skins? No, we just see basically what we all stand on the same level, that we have money, and that's all it is.
Exactly. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So, I mean, I just wanted to go ahead and make those 2 quick comments, and it was a very touchy story. So thank you for not only for covering that, because I did see it on your website, and you did make a quick video on that as well, but for you to cover that on the live, I thought that was like the nicest thing. Even I told the kids, I was like, and look at, because the kids are very well versed, not too much in politics, just for their age, but it's like I told them, and the Matrix tries to always say, that the whole race thing, it's all BS, because at the end of the day, it's all the Matrix is just trying to keep a certain population as slaves, meaning they're naive, they're naive to this, BS narrative that, the color of your skin is the only thing that matters. But it's like I told the kids, look at that, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the only thing you're ever going to get judged for is the content of your character. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Right on. Absolutely.
Yeah. Alrighty, ABL. Well, thank you so much. It's a good show again. You gonna end up going IG live anytime soon, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do this a lot more. I got a little setup I got with my for the phone, so I can just kind of have it in one place. So I definitely be doing that some more.
Yeah, because I think that's nice. I mean, it's just a little bit more personal. So I think a lot of whoever has you on their IG, I think it's just a little bit more of that personal touch, I can say. So thank you for the live. It's been so great by far. God bless you. I wish you a wonderful night, and God bless everyone in the chat. I wish everyone in the chat a wonderful night as well.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate you.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah, that was definitely a good time on Instagram Live. If you're not following me, Instagram.com/Anthony B. Logan, please do so. All right, Tyler, what's going on?
Hey, Anthony. How you doing, bud?
It's all good, man. Can't complain.
Hey, what do you think, how long this friendship, new buddy, Zelensky and Biden, and do you think that he'll ever dress properly and wear the right attire to come in our, Capitol and all that?
he probably won't dress properly until the friendship is over, until Biden says, no, you can't get any more money. Then it's going to be, okay, now I'm a serious person. I got on a suit and tie. I'm going to try to go to the UN and tell them to give me some more money and beg the U.S. to step up and do their part. Once it becomes serious like that, then they'll put the suit on. But until then, he'll put on just a sweatshirt, some, pants he probably slept in the night before, and just go to the White House and get some more money.
Yeah, and he keeps the tightest fade for somebody that's trying to portray himself like he's in the field. I mean, I get what he's trying to do, the image he's trying to portray, but like at this point, somebody's got to talk about some peace. I mean, they got their people sleeping underneath bus stations. I mean, they're over there taking L's, but if you watch the news, they act like they're winning something. Like he's not even really throwing much at them. They don't even got power. I don't see how they're winning anything.
They're not winning anything. But, it keep getting funded. And they want to, like, the whole purpose of us funding Ukraine is to prolong the war, because we're trying to weaken Russia throughout the constant fighting. That we're trying to weaken them that way, so then they can be more easily taken over, or more easily, like we can have Russia weaken, then we could take Ukraine for ourselves, put NATO right there, and then put the pressure on Russia. Like that's like it's really we're fighting the war right now against Russian Federation through Ukraine. That's all. It's a proxy war. And Lee Zeldin even said it. He came on TV and said, yeah, well, Ukraine's fighting our enemies for us. I'm like, oh, okay, so you just admitted to the whole proxy war right there. It's not even about trying to protect Ukraine and their sovereignty. It's about them trying to fight Russia for us so we don't do it directly and start World War III. That's the whole point.
Yeah, and it's right in our face. And don't think I'm crazy now, but, man, these Republicans, like I said, I've never really been a Republican. I'm a Trumplican, and that's about it. And then like he's kind of he's getting a little sketchy. I guess I'm DeSantis or whatever.
Right.
But you got to go with the most sensible person, obviously. But these people pretend they're our friends, and they pretend like they're standing up for us, and then. They just fall like McConnell, so pathetic. Lindsey Graham, it's like he's begging for war with Russia. I have no problem with the Russian people. I just want everybody to know I'd have no problems with the Russia. That's their problems. And maybe Ukraine, maybe we shouldn't have sent Kamala Harris over there. And, Ukraine's probably going to come in the UN here, and then 3 days later we got a war. Do you think maybe that was coincidental? That's pretty much the one thing Putin asked Ukraine not to do, was play in that territory, and that's what they did. And here we are fighting a war with Russia that I for what reason?
Yeah, it's going to come to an end at a certain point, I suppose. And I think at that point, we'll see what's really going on with Zelensky and Ukraine and the whole situation. I think it'd be out there to the general public rather than just kind of behind these back channels the way we have it now. Just like on these independent news shows, we'll talk about it. But I think after it's over with, then we might hear a little bit more in the mainstream media, perhaps.
Yeah, he's like a little kid you done gave too much candy to. He's never going to stop asking now,
That's right.
You done gave it to him, so, all the way to supper time, you're going to hear about it.
Exactly, right.
And he's eating good. And his old lady's over there shopping in Paris, getting 40,000 on, on a little spending spree.
That's
while
right.
The people sleeping in bus stations. It's awful, man. I pray for all of them. Hopefully we'll work it out.
Hopefully so.
Well, shoot. Yeah. But all right, ABL, you stay up, bro.
Thank you for the call, man.
Good
Appreciate
show,
you.
man.
Thank you.
All right, bro. Stay. All right, now. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. All right. Shout out to my man Tyler for the call. Thank you all for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these internets. If you enjoy what you're hearing thus far, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all of that good stuff. This is also a podcast you're listening to right now. It'll be available on your favorite audio streaming platforms for free. That could be Spotify, Google Play, Apple iTunes, Stitcher, Anchor, etc. Link for that will be in the description. Or go to your favorite audio streaming platforms and search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. And if you're over there right now listening to me, give me a 5-star rating or review, whatever you can. I most certainly appreciate you for that. Also, go to the website, AnthonyBLogan.com. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN.com. Check me out there. And once you go to the website, most videos that I put out, I write an article for, and there'll be sources in the article, so you can fact check me. and you can see where I got my information from. I don't just pull it out of nowhere. I get my facts from sources all the time. So go to the website, anthonyblogan.com, and then go to anthonyblogan.com/contact to find my email, my snail mail, all that good stuff, my social media accounts, my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook. And I'll be doing a lot more live content on the IGs pretty soon here. When I go live on Instagram, it's a little bit more personal. I could just be, walking around with my camera in my house, wherever I'm at. I could bring you guys on. We could talk one-to-one with the voice and the video. It's a cool little thing. I like my YouTube show the way that is. It's just a different vibe over there on Instagram to give you something a little bit different. So I'll be doing that a lot more. I always say whenever I go live on Instagram, I'm going to do this a lot more and then never do it until like 6 months later. But normally I don't make New Year's resolutions. That's not really my thing that I ever do. But I think this year I may do that. Will I go live on New Year's Eve? Yes, I will be live on New Year's Eve. Absolutely. I may not be live the entire 3 hours, but I will be live for sure, at least for about 2 hours. I'll be live for at least 2 hours on New Year's Eve that night. So yeah, I'll be here with you guys. And then you could watch Ryan Seacrest or whoever you want. No, do you guys party on New Year's? I'm not a partier, really. I don't like. I used to work in a club environment when I was doing my flyers and stuff. I would always be in clubs. It'd be 2:00 in the morning. I'm trying to pick up some money from some janky promoter. You know how that whole thing goes. I mean, they would have me in strip clubs and bars and restaurants and everywhere, all time of the day, all time of the night. I stopped doing that, by the way. I stopped doing the whole delivery thing. I'd be like, look, man, go to my man shop right there in Norfolk, pick it up between 9 to 5. I don't got no time. Give me the money right now first. Like, I just did things better at a certain point as I got older. But anyway, I digress. I'm having flashbacks from my former life. But anyway, I never really liked clubs and parties. If anything, if I would go to a party, it'd be like a house party or a place where I know people, a political event or something that's a little bit more intimate, not a club or a thing like that. That's just not really my personality. If you do that, if you enjoy that, that's cool too, but everybody's different. But New Year's, I feel like on New Year's, you can run into a lot of amateurs. It's the same way with Christmas shopping. You run into amateur drivers. It's like, okay, have you never been outside before on the road? Have you never driven before? It's your first time driving right now because you got to go get some Christmas gifts last minute. Okay. You never seen a roundabout before? You live in Hamilton County for the past 15 years. You never seen a roundabout before? You don't drive too much. You're an amateur. You're in the way. Same thing with New Year's. I've been in clubs and whatnot on New Year's. I've done everything. I've been in clubs. I've been in house parties. I've been at the crib. Whatever. I prefer kind of like at the house, maybe a small gathering. That's, yeah. One other person, that'd be pretty much what I'm into. But do you guys prefer like the club or do you prefer to be at like a small gathering or be at the house? I've done everything. You know what I mean? You stay in, don't drink. Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. In the bed, yep. Yes. All right. Exactly. Somebody says, what was the story of the year? Thank you, Les. You be my you be my IG live reminder. Thank you. All right, but people say home. I'm with y'all. I got one vote for me for home. That's always the best. Like I said, I've done, and I'm gonna get back to that question. I didn't forget about that, but I've done everything. I've done parties. I've done club. I've done the house. Yeah, house parties. One other person. By myself. Big club. Travel, different states. Everything I've done over the years. And the best thing for me is being at home. Absolutely. At home with your food, small group party. Yeah. And I had probably the most fun as a small group party, like 5-6 people, tops. Okay. Clubbing with the disco ball, house party. Geneva Wilkerson says, mom likes to go out early and get a steak. Then I'm babysitting grands, 3 and 2 that are older. 3 grands and then 2 that are older while parents go out. My son is doing fireworks. That sounds fun, doing fireworks, for sure. Instagram Live is just a little bit different than YouTube. It's not quite the same setup. See, right here, I got my headphones on. I got a bunch of stuff happening. Like I'm running a real show, like a radio type of show. But on Instagram Live, it's more just personal. You just got to kind of experience it. I would tell anybody that has not experienced it or doesn't understand it, just go check it out one day and see how you like it. Participate in it if you want to. Just do it that way. Yeah. Oh, and also the thing about going out on New Year's, it's going to be expensive. Or they're going to bust you. Like if you go to like Miami or something crazy or Vegas, or they're going to bust your head clean open when it comes to the expensive drinks. Oh, my goodness. Man, oh, man. You think that going to a bar regularly, like an expensive bar regularly is expensive, they're going to catch you open because they know that, first of all, you're dealing with amateurs who don't know how much drinks cost. That's first thing. Second thing, they know that you're going to just pay it because you came out for New Year's. And it's going to be a high demand, a lot of people. They already know what time it is. They know exactly what it is. You know? But, also about the holidays, I used to work at a restaurant on Christmas Day. And it was a different kind of vibe on Christmas Day. And other holidays like 4th of July, different vibe. It was more like a family type of vibe on Christmas Day. So people would bring their families in there to eat, or they would not have a family, but then it would still kind of be a family atmosphere. They could be by themselves, but it'd be a family atmosphere still. It was a different kind of vibe on Christmas Day than other times. I mean, it definitely was. And then New Year's Day was kind of the same, different kind of vibe on those days than normal. Yeah, and also I'm old. I'm not old, but I'm getting up there. I'm to the point where if I'm in the club, there's club, like if I go to Atlanta, I fit right in. People going to the club, they're my age. But if I'm in Virginia or somewhere like that, I'm the old man in the club. But if I go to ATL, I'm the perfect age for the club. I am the perfect. I got the gray. Like they probably think I'm older than what I am because I got the gray beard. So I will fit right in. They think I'm like in my 40s or 50s, but really I'm not. All right. Les says I buy Stella Rose wine, red wine, have a cup and relax at home for me for New Year's. Yeah, that's a good plan. Oh yeah, and also that's a good point right there, Tim. Watch out for the bullets if you be gonna be shooting the gun. Yeah, please. I did that before too. I was outside with some friends at my friend's house in my friend's neighborhood on New Year's, and they were letting that gun go off. Like we heard fireworks. It might have been the 4th of July or New Year's. I forget which one. Probably 4th of July, actually. We heard the fireworks and we heard that gun go off. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. That's like a gun right there. I don't want to be in the range of where the gun is firing because what must up must come back down. And that bullet can hit you from going up and then coming back down with some force and damage you. Seriously. All right. I am 38 years old. Yes. Okay. I don't know why I have gray like this. I think my dad and all of them they were gray early too. Like we see pictures of my grandparents on my dad's side, and they look like they're much older than what they were. They just had the gray early. Dad had it too. But Dad, what he would do is put just for meat, not just for men and stuff like that in his beard. And then once he got to be like maybe 50, he just stopped and it was completely Snow White. I'm talking about Santa Claus white at 50. But when he was my age, it was pretty much like this. So that's just a hereditary thing, I suppose. All right. So let me get on out of here. I will see you guys again live on Saturday. That's New Year's Eve. I may not do the entire 3 hours, may do 2 that night. I know you guys want to, watch Ryan Seacrest or whoever you want to watch the ball drop and stuff like that. I won't keep you too long. And let me see. Yeah, I'll be doing that. And of course, I have pre-recorded videos all throughout the week. I'll be putting some more stuff out tomorrow and Friday and Saturday during the day. Yeah, if I shave my beard, then I'm like 10 years younger. But if you see me in person, I don't look that old, I suppose. But people think I look like Samuel L. Jackson. I was in the airport. He was like, hey, man, loves you in Pulp Fiction. I'm like, ha, 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 ha. But I didn't say that. I was like, hey, man, I get that all the time. But, you know, I'm glad I appear to be some kind of millionaire actor rather than somebody that smokes crack for a living. And when they say Samuel L. Jackson, hopefully they think about Nick Fury and not Gator from Do the Right Thing. Or Snakes on the Plane. Yeah, I don't want to look like Snakes on the Plane. Hold on. I don't want to look like this guy right here. Hold on. I don't want to look like the meme. Oh no, that's Snakes on the Plane. What's the other one? Where he was looking all crazy. Black Snake Moan. Yeah, I don't want to look like that. Hold on. Now y'all gonna laugh. If you laugh, you're getting blocked. Hold on. I don't want to look like. Can we get the image or not? Yeah, that's not me right there. If you think that's me, you getting blocked. We think that's me. Okay, I don't want to appear to be like that. Now, if I can look like this more recent picture, hold on. If I could look like that, hold on, I'll put it up right quick. Now, if I could look like this, all right, now I'm rocking it. I'll take that. I'll take the Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson. All right, I'll take that one. But that right there, anybody that laughs at that, you're going straight to the penitentiary. I'm calling the police on you right away. But that guy right there, okay, I could take that. You know, that's kind of like, you know what I mean? There we go. Y'all laughing. See, I'm triggered. I'm hurt. I'm butthurt. Anyway, let me get out of here before I start crying. Nah, you guys are great. Love y'all. Let me get to the super chats and then let me just do that and then I'll let you guys enjoy your night. If I have any more, I might not have any more. Let me go to where I'm supposed to go. All right. Let's see. Thank you to Core Brent 1234 who says, you got me through the lockdowns. Mother was a big fan of the vids of your channel. I shared. Blessings. Thanks for your service. Thank you for that, man. I appreciate you. It means a lot to me. Core Brent also says she was watching the live too. She said, here's 10 from her and Auntie. All right. Shout out to Auntie and shout out to her. Thank y'all for that. I appreciate y'all. Thank you to Wall Street Wolf who says New York State was the first to implement a bail bond reform act. Look at how that turned out. Nonviolent criminals released an hour after being arrested. Exactly. Crazy. All righty. So that'll be a wrap for me. You guys have been great tonight. Always a great audience. I'll be back again live on Saturday, New Year's Eve. Man, I do the entire 3 hours, but we'll see once I'm on the stream if I'm feeling good or whatever I got going on. But and thank you to the mods for keeping the trolls out in check and everything the way it's supposed to be. Nobody got trolls in here that want to act a fool and disrupt the chat. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for super chatting, watching, retweeting, whatever you're doing. I appreciate y'all for that. But until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out and peace.